Hello, everybody in here, out there, wherever you may be. I'm Zazakel. Welcome to the quarterfinals for Risen Esports Dominant League. I am joined here by my partner Dobby. Dobby, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Ready to watch some dominate quarterfinals going. Had the pleasure of casting Soulbert last weekend in a no hold bar match to see if the winning formula would make it. Unfortunately, the winning formula could not contest with the power of Soulbert. And here we are watching them play versus Soul Chill actually.
So chill, actually, or ska. So hopefully they have a little bit of a groove going throughout this. But yes, definitely looking forward to the first quarterfinal match. Finally we're at the playoffs. Everything on the line. We are started up in draft here as well, so we might as well just jump right into it. Malzahar off the table first, taken out by We Love Solbert.
Yeah, they're probably just gonna try and do their best to target ban their weaker links. Not to say random capitals is weak. It's just Malzahar is so easy to play that it made Crown look good, and he won a world championship off of it. But as soon as he came to NA, his career died so fast. Uh,
Yeah, absolutely, and not a lot of heavy meta bans so far. I don't think. I think more just targeting, what people are comfortable on. I always am under the impression that it's always comfort over meta, in my opinion. If you can pilot a champion to 100% efficiency, it just is way more impactful than even something like a Kai'Sa or any other highly prioritized meta pick. So
yeah,
I've seen a lot of target bans right now, taking out the Balzahar, Ashe, and Aatrox, as well as the Renekton, Wukong, and Ska will finally get their last ban in here. But again, just trying to take out some of these more prioritized picks.
yeah. Aatrox definitely is probably the best top laner in the game right now. Solbert probably wants to prioritize that Kai'Sa just because he's very comfortable on that champion and it is B1 worthy, but especially since they took out that Aatrox, I do believe Aatrox is probably the best B1 champion in the game right now, just due to his strong power, versatile builds, and able to dominate any matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Hence why he's getting nerfed. But yeah, right there, the
Yeah.
Kai'Sa priority coming in, and we'll see how Ska
I don't think
answers.
that will. I don't think that'll shock anybody at all. We see the Kai'Sa so often in almost pro play, in solo queue, wherever you may be. Kai'Sa is probably one of the most prioritized picks right now. So not really shocking coming in B1 here for WLS, but we will see what the response is from Ska.
Yeah, there's only so. I like this. I really like the MF. I really want them to like lock in Rel or I really want them to lock in Rel or
You,
Leona.
you can't give over for Kai'Sa Rel, right? Like there's no way that you could just give up both of those like high impact picks, and
Yeah,
that's such a good laning partner too. So I'm expecting maybe a Rel pickup here, but maybe Ska's cooking up something else. We'll see.
yeah. Last week, the winning formula actually slammed in MF Rel in the bot lane, and
There it
like
is.
and
There it is.
yep, and they absolutely dominated Solbert in the laning phase, and it actually led the winning formula to getting a win under their belt. It was
Okay.
the WLS has only lost 2 games in the entire split so far, and one of them was last week versus the winning formula's MF Rel bot lane duo.
Yep. So absolutely. I am expecting that rail to go into the bot lane, but again, can be flexed. So I think just having these high impact picks early is very, very important in this sort of draft. But Trundle coming through, you don't really see a lot of Trundle these days, especially when they haven't really shown a lot of their hand. Like we do have one tank on the other side with the Rel, but if that is going support, he's not gonna have as many stats to steal. So a bit curious here, but we also get the Ari with the pickup, and it looks like it's going to be Syndra with the answer for Ska as we move into the second phase of bans.
I really like the Trundle pickup into Rel though. It limits a lot of her mobility. His pillar will limit her movement speed buff. And also the fact that he can shred the one person that's coming in on your team, make it a really easy target to get rid of.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Syndra's a good answer into Ahri as well, and we see that Ska taking Jax right off the bat, preventing from Yabba Dabba Doo from having comfort in the
That's gonna
top
be a
lane.
fun name to cast throughout this game. So yabba dabba doo. But yeah, so taking out the Jax as well, just high scaling pick, just very very dominant in lane as well. So Olaf on the other side. So it looks like some top lane prioritization bans coming through here for both sides.
Yeah, seeing to get rid of the Olaf, probably another like true damage shred up here leads me that WLS wants to have a tank top side. Something a little bit more frontline worthy than the Trundle. But you also notice that they got rid of the Alistar, really good pairing with Kaisa. So this kind of like forces WLS to go with like just like the Nautilus, the safe, tried and true champion.
Yep, and touching on your point a bit more, that Camille also taken out, very anti-tank, a very anti-tank pick. So I think you're definitely on the right track here. Maybe looking for some more engage-heavy tankiness coming up from WLS's top lane and Yabba Dabba Doo. So we will see what they are cooking here. But meanwhile, 7 seconds left on the pick for Ska. Lilia, probably one of my favorite picks of the jungle right now. She is a ton of fun. That overheal into ROA pick is build is probably the most effective I've seen on her for a while. So that's what I'm expecting here. But again, could be a different build that we see coming out. But that is the most popular Lilia build right now.
Yeah, I like the Lilia because it also has that the ability to shred the tank, and we see Soulbert's side going with that Ornn. Kind of predicting what they were going to go because of the bans in the second phase there. And being able to pick the Lilia offers a lot in terms of the Ska being able to play an 80 top, which will be good into the Ornn, but there's not that many other choices except that Fiora. So that's what I'm leaning towards. But they go with the Amumu.
Engage out of the last two picks from WLS, coming up with the Ornn and the Amumu. Plenty of ways to get onto this misfortune, but it's going to be Poppy that is going to be picked on the top side as a counter. How do you feel about this tank v tank matchup in the top lane then so far?
I think that this is extremely Ornn favored. They grabbed the Poppy just so that she can interrupt the Ornn second cast, which is good. It's smart. It's useful. But at the same time, I don't think it's a winning matchup. So Sky here is going to have to play for that bot side matchup. So hopefully we see Lilia coming down bot side, doing anything to get them ahead here in this matchup. But it's also pretty much showcased. So Berto's replacement, Chicoletta, is going to have a lot of work to do here to make sure that he doesn't cost Soulbert in the game here.
Yeah, absolutely. And also just picking up that Poppy is just another one that Trundle can ult and sap a lot of stats out of. Poppy, with the passive on her W, does get a lot of bonus resistances. So I think, this kind of opens the avenue for Trundle a little bit to be even tankier than we originally expected in these team fights. So we'll have to see how Ska plays that out, if they're able to play around this Trundle ultimate and try not to let him absolutely just wreak havoc onto their team. But overall, our drafts have been settled for game one. What are you expecting for both these teams, coming into this first matchup of this best of 5?
Well, Soulbert's team really excels playing through the top side of the map. Going on Ornn makes me feel like they're gonna switch that up a little bit here, playing through either in the mid or the bot. But in recent weeks, Soulbert has actually the namesake of the team has kind of been the hindrance of the team's success. He's been playing a lot of Kaisa. He's proficient on the champion, but like he lets Static Shiv do most of the work for him while he plays this build. So I'm hoping to see some adaptations here for him because like we saw last week, MF and Rel bot lane absolutely dumpstered that matchup, and it was the Kaisa matchup. So I feel like he might be a little worried here going into it. I foresee and I want to see a lot of bot skirmishes. I really want to see this, especially because we have the two tank top laners and no one wants to watch Noodles fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, double engaged supports. We're expecting this to be a very, very volatile bot lane. Are you expecting kind of both junglers to try and path and influence this bot lane as quickly as possible, especially considering the tank top matchups?
I would heavily
Mhm.
focus on that for sure. Uh, for just like straight both, it should be a 3v3 in the bot, and then like I would give the 3v3 to Ska just because the Lilia does have that percent HP shred. Rel
Mhm.
is extremely formidable, engage and can peel, and then MF is just puts out a lot of damage. However, like up to level 3, Kaisa also being able to stack her passive. You got the double Amumu stun. And because she does mixed damage with the Amumu curse, she should probably be able to put out a little bit more damage. So
Mhm.
each team has these points of contention that they need to go for, and they have to try and build a scenario to make them successful. But
Absolutely.
they both have the ability to do it.
Both teams just have a lot of strength, and they just need to play to them in order to be successful. So, one last question I got to you before we head to a break, as we wait for the spectator delay. Um, Based on everything that you know so far, do you have any predictions for who comes out in game one?
Yeah, I think Soulbert's got the easier to execute composition here. They've been playing together. They have been extremely dominant the entire split so far,
Mm-hmm.
and they know how to play through their winning lanes. And if a lane isn't doing what they need, they adapt quickly. Um,
Even considering the fact that they have a substitute jungler, are you still favoring towards we love Soulbert?
I would say yes. The
Okay.
rest of the team has their starters, so they're going to be able to help guide him along if he doesn't play up to par. And then he wouldn't be a sub on that team if he didn't know at least the bare minimum of what he needs to do to make them win.
That makes absolute sense. And just to add a little bit of chaos into this stream, I'm going to flip to the other side, and I am instead going to root for Ska. They have a very musical name, and I'm rooting for them now in this one, just to kind of see who comes out with the predictions at the end of the day. However, we will head to a quick break as we wait for our spectator delay. So please don't go anywhere. We will be right back with game one between We Love Soulbert and So Cool. Actually, I believe that's what they're called.
Chill, actually.
So Chill, actually. My apologies. We will be right back with game one. Don't go anywhere.
Wow.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Risen Esports. We have Game 1 versus Sochill, actually, and we love soulbert. Welcome back, Dobby. How are you excited here for the first game in the best of 5?
I'm pretty excited for this. I think it's going to be good. It's going to be spicy. We see everyone lining up in the 5 points, so like everyone's just respecting each other right now, trying to make sure that these early game jitters aren't happening, as this could potentially be a long series.
Absolutely. We're hoping for the 5-game banger as normal, but we will see. Again, just no level 1 shenanigans happening so far, but we will see where each jungler starts. So as we predicted, looks like both are hovering towards the top side right now, looking more towards pathing down towards that bot lane to really influence this volatile matchup between two engaged supports and two heavy carry ADCs. But here we go, Cafe stepping a bit too far, is going to take some poke and some free first strike gold going on to Fire Ice Demon, but some poke coming out from random capitals as well. So a little bit of damage traded early on, but it looks like we are correct and both these junglers are going to stop topside.
Yeah, and you see that Dracanis is helping out Toxic Entity there and getting that leash, and Yabba Dabba Doo is just trying to prevent him from getting to lane so that he can get that experience. But poking on Chicoletta, not so much worth, because he's just going to be able to heal that up through his Trundle passive, no problem.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it is not the overheal Lilia build that I was expecting. Is running the Triumph on Toxic Entity. I think that actually does make a lot of sense to go the more Leandrius oriented build with a Trundle or an Abubu on the other side. So obviously, that's making a lot of sense coming up with Toxic Entity. So, but I am a little sad that we don't get the new spicy Lilia build, because it has been a lot of fun in solo queue.
Right, and then we also see that soulbert has transitioned off to Hail of Blades. While I don't think he's not going to build Static Shift, but a lot of that trading power he'll have early is just going to be non-existent versus that MF. Which could be a tactical choice just because he knows that all-in potential, and he's not going to be able to trade much, so just waiting for the lethality, which is better in the later game.
Absolutely. So we see a bit of trading coming out from the top side. Yabba Dabba Doo trying to use that level 3 advantage to get a little bit of trade off, but Dracanis just is able to step away, throw the shield, trade some damage back. But it doesn't look like Yabba Dabba Doo is done, and will chunk him out already to half. Already having to pop 2 of his corrupting potions up there in the top lane. So the early trades going over to the side of Yabba Dabba Doo.
Yeah, Dracanis is just eating all that damage. Trading health for Yabba Dabba Doo's mana bar, which not exactly an easy trade, because he's just gonna cratch it, and once he goes back, he'll have that teleport available.
Yeah, plus, especially since Ornn usually runs cookies, and it looks like he is into this matchup as well. Just that mana issue is not going to be too much of a big deal for the Ornn, especially in the early game. So I think, yeah, overall, just very favorable for the side of WLS early on, but we will see. Lilia doing a bit of an invade on the bot side, but we are not done with the trades, and never mind. Yes, we are. Oh, but here we go. Cafe Chicolata is looking for that first blood, and there's the pillar coming out through. The charm does miss, but here we go. The junglers are over here as well. Toxic Entity will try to turn this fight, but he is just going to go into the grave as well. Most likely is actually going to flash away. The charm just a little bit short here by random capitals. Cafe Chicolata is really trying to hunt for this second blood as well, but he will just have to walk away as the bot lane rotates up from the side of Ska, and it looks like just the 1 kill going over to Cafe Chicolata there in the jungle.
Yeah, I think that answers our question about can Chicolata stick up for Birdo, and right there shows that he's got the proficiency to do it, and situational awareness. Look at the map and see that Fire and Ice Demon probably pushed up a little too hard, and as soon as Random Capitals was able to burn that flash, you could see that that Syndra could not get away from that Trundle pillar.
Absolutely, and all 4 flashes blown here, so we will see if there's another play around this mid lane, but here we go. Dracanis has to flash away, and Yabba Dabba Doo not opting to flash after to try to pick up the solo kill there, but as we mentioned, very, very impressive stuff coming out from Yabba Dabba Doo, really dominating the top lane early on.
Yeah, and he's got the wave in a nice spot for himself as well, so that he can come back and teleport, and it's not going to crash under Dracanis' wave tower. Just trying to maintain that that CS lead that he's getting. And
yeah, already 15 CS up over his counterpart. Yabba Dabba Doo really putting on the lane kingdom here, and we will see how he's able to influence that onto other parts of the map. But just going back to this mid lane play, as I was trying to mention, all 4 flashes blown. We will see if there is any more plays just around this mid lane scene. Especially before 6, but meanwhile we got some more trades coming, very trade heavy lanes coming out here from the top side. Yabba Dabba Doo actually losing out on that one as of right now.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot to trade with currently, but you see Ska taking this opportunity of probably seeing that Chicletta's on the top side to try and get rid of that dragon and take the first one to get that stacking going.
Yeah, absolutely, but it looks like we are going to have a bit of a contest here as Cafe Chocolata comes in. Fossil Dyna with the absolute perfect bandage toss. The flash after will also try and snag Yamatak, and it looks like he will be able to walk away, but Overlord Squid will have to pay for his later sins, but he will be able to flash out and just manage to barely walk away from that, but it is the second kill of the game going over to WLS and the Dragon as well.
Yeah, really good teamwork there from Ska to leash the dragon for WLS. But as you saw, you mentioned that the Lilia's flash was down, and that's who they targeted immediately as soon as they got there. Taking her out of the picture meant that they continue the fight and then secure the dragon immediately afterwards.
Absolutely, and a summoner advantage is actually on the side of WLS. We can still see 2 flashes up for the ADC Soulbert and Yabba Dabba Doo there in the top lane. Meanwhile, on the other side, not a single member of Ska has their own flash up. So definitely for the next few minutes or so, we have to assume that any skirmishes we see will be more WLS favored, and we'll see if they can take full advantage of that with this Herald spawning in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I would love to see WLS prioritize it because they have the advantage. And they will have ult advantage coming to this too.
Looks like Toxic Entity is trying to harass a little bit, but he has no flash, and you're deep in enemy territory. What the heck are you doing, Toxic Entity? This is not where the deer should rest, and down she goes yet again. 3-0 early on, going over to WLS.
Yeah, Toxic Entity, extreme misplay there. Had no prio in any other lanes, and the only vision he had was the ward that was cleared by Chicletta there. Right before he started that blue buff, so it looks to be like a little miscommunication of what he can and can't do. Maybe he thought he would be able to get 6 off of taking that camp away and then fight.
But even at 6 though, like, you're still 3v1. I don't think even at level 6 that you're able to come out of that ahead in any way. So definitely a bit of a questionable play there from Toxic Entity, and we will see just how that goes punished. It looks like the Rift Herald will be started up right on spawn here by Coffee Chocolata, and we will I don't foresee any way that they can even contest this objective.
Yeah, and then they just call down the Yabba Dabba Doo to like burn the flash on Fire and Ice. So with Syndra flashless going into the next objective, should be the dragon, so she won't have that at all.
It's just pure domination coming out from WLS early on in this game. Already just 9 minutes in, have established a 1.5k gold lead, and we will see if they are able to really spread this out to the rest of the map. And just so far, you know, Cafe Chocolata, we talked about it at the beginning of the game. Will he be able to step in and step into Birdo's shoes and really be able to carry this team forward? And so far, you gotta hand it to the Trundle. They are doing their part.
Yeah, it's such good control of the fights with the pillar, being able to manage the corridors and like just controlling it, and the fact that no one is paying. The Ska's saving grace in this game is their bot lane, but they're not playing around it at all. They're just ignoring it, and it's causing a lot of harm around the map.
So we do have a bit of a farm lead coming up for Yamatak. A little 15 CS as of the moment, so maybe a bit of a saving grace here for the side of Ska, but I don't know if that will be enough to actually turn the tides in this game. So we will see if that is going to be able to really have an impact in this game, but so far I'm just not seeing it.
Maybe they're
Oh,
just waiting for that late game team fight where a good ult and he can bullet time all the way out. But
yeah, I mean, oh, looks like we have a bit of a play here in top lane. Drakenis just did get his flashback, but meanwhile, in bot lane, Fossil Dyna has gone in with the ultimate. Overlord Squid is barely clinging to life, and they will not make their escape. The move down from Random Capitals will secure both of those kills for the side of WLS.
yeah, extremely good play there. By
We're
the
not
bot lane.
done. The second Ornhorn does not actually make an impact thanks to the W from the Poppy, as you were mentioning earlier, is able to interrupt that second part of the ultimate, but is that a small victory coming out at best for Scott?
Yeah, small victory. The setback presence will be annoying as the game goes up, but like getting the Poppy ahead isn't going to be the answer to the problems. And soulbert doing everything they can to deny that answer by going immediately down to the one winning lane they had and turning it on their heels. Now that you see Kaisa might be down that 15 CS, but that kill definitely put him back in at least even with Yamantak.
Yeah, and actually opting not to take the static shiv, at least not as a rush item. Instead, opting in for that Kraken Slayer, so maybe a bit more physical damage coming out from the ADC, but it's now Cafe Chocolata flashing in. The charm lands onto Fire Ice Demon, and go back to hell with you, sir. That's the 6th kill now coming over to the side of WLS.
Yeah, 6-0, complete domination, ready to go into the next dragon. They have all the priority mid lane, and which is weird that they're just walking in knowing that Ari is going to be right behind them.
Yeah, this is a bit of an awkward spot, but maybe they can land a kill early on. Fossil Dyna is taking the brunt of this damage, but here comes Random Capitals. The charm comes through. Entity is forced to flash away. Will be able to stay alive for now, but soulbert is giving chase. Overlord Squid now dropping dangerously low, and he will go down. Random Capitals grabbing the kill there. Soulbert deep in enemy territory will be able to pick up the kill on to the jungler, and meanwhile, the teleport coming in from Draconis does not do anything to help this team. They were able to grab the kill onto soulbert off screen there, but at the end of the day, it is still the objective, and the majority of the kills going over to WLS.
Yeah, getting the kill on soulbert was just a consolation prize. He was tunneling on Entity, and he wanted that kill. But meanwhile, the rest of his team was collective and cohesive, taking out Ska one at a time so that they can secure that second dragon. 9-1, a 3-for-1 trade and an objective, plus both TPs coming in. This is definitely extremely soulbert-sided, and
yeah, absolutely. The only lead as of right now is actually in that bot lane. Yamantak actually able to pick up that kill onto soulbert means that he's about 450 gold ahead of his lane partner, but that barely even matters when you consider the rest of the team. Speaking of, Yamantak with no way out just gets absolutely deleted by these beefy boys here. They want more. The TP will come in, but will be enough to save Overlord Squid. Cafe Chocolata will be able to soak up most of that tower damage, but Overlord Squid will be able to walk away with barely any life. Fire Ice Demon, the TP does manage to save his support, but will it save him for long? Random Capitals is down here as well. The dash in, the dash back out. Doesn't look like they want to go for anything more. Fire Ice Demon dropping now down to half health. Cafe Chocolata is back with the ultimate. That will finally take out Overlord Squid. Meanwhile, the rest of the wave is coming out. Fire Ice Demon finds himself in a spot he does not want to be. Tries to flash, but that won't save you. 3 more kills going over to WLS. Oh, meanwhile, actually back in top lane, soulbert is forced to flash out early, and Yamantak tries the bullet time to try and get any consolation prize, but on neither end of the map are Ska able to pick up any kills.
Yeah, really quick thinking from soulbert to get out of there and immediately proc his passive sack so he can ult and get that shield so he can survive. And then Chocolata having the wherewithal to immediately lay down that pillar as soon as Yamantak hits that ultimate. Without that disrupt, he would have easily killed all 3 of them with the amount of pen he has at this point.
Absolutely, and just pure domination coming through for this team. we could see that jungle Cafe Chocolata just 6-0-5 on the Trundle has been massively impactful in this game. Definitely a jungle performance worth celebrating so far. We will see if they are able to keep it up. And it's difficult to see any way back into this game now. A 4K gold lead at 15 minutes is very, very difficult spot for Scott to be in. Will they be able to make any sort of comeback? It's just very difficult to tell at this point.
It's going to be extremely hard for them to come back, especially because soulbert's strengths are the team fighting.
Absolutely, but we have a fight now breaking out in the top lane. Overlord Squid, maybe a bit too deep as the rest of his team is focusing down the Herald. Overlord Squid dropping dangerously low, finally taken out by Soulbert. Yamatak has to flash the wall to get away from the Trundle. Meanwhile, there's a double kill and a fight going on in bot lane as well. Camera panned a little bit there for me. But Toxic Entity now actually dropping dangerously low and will go down. Finally, fights breaking out at opposite ends of the rift. But looks like yet again, it is WLS coming out with the advantages.
Yeah, soulbert knows how to win with a head. As I was alluding to earlier, like, their strengths are these mid to late game fights in this macro. And if they're ahead in the early game, they're not just going to lose. And that's purely evident through their win record.
Yeah, absolutely. Finally going to break down this mid lane turret, just getting even more agency on the map. This opens up so much more opportunities for them. They've already broken down that bot turret as well. Looks like Yabadabadoo is doing his best on the top side, and we will see if he's able to break that down. Dragon now spawning in less than a minute. Just, again, just... Do you even fight this third dragon at this point, or are you just waiting to scale? It doesn't look like they're going to. Toxic Entity is here trying to get onto Yabadabadoo. Draconis is there as well, but Yabadabadoo is insanely tanky. Will he be able to make his getaway? Looks like they're looking to dive under the turret, and finally, it is Toxic Entity shutting down the Ornn.
Yeah, that's a small victory right there. That's the power of the Lilia, as we were talking about in draft, and how she has that ability to shred tanks. But answering your dragon question, I think that you just let them stack that dragon as fast as possible, and pray for an elder play. That would be your win con right there. There's no other way I can see them coming.
It looks like they don't agree with you. We have the TP coming in from Fire Ice Demon. TP in response coming from Yabadabadoo. It looks like we'll have a full 5v5 slugfest. Here comes the Ornn Horde, the Charm, and Draconis is the first one to die. Cafe Chocolata is now godlike as they surge forward in the jungle. Overlord Squid sacrifices himself for his teammates. But will that save the Toxic Entity? You have no dash, you have no escapes. Will flash, maybe that'll save him actually. But Cafe Chocolata is put to sleep, but he ain't sleeping for long. That is the third kill. The Trundle is legendary, and that is Dragon number 3 going over to WLS.
Yeah, Chocolata has been a straight powerhouse in this game. Like, controlling the map, controlling the game, making Entity respond and never make a decision on his own. That's definitely going to lead him to the win, and if he keeps these performances up, it could be a quick 3-0 with how they're playing this first game.
Yeah, momentum. If I feel like if Ska really do want a chance in this series, they're going to have to turn things around starting in game 2. Whether that is the draft, maybe pick something a bit more easier to play, or anything like along those lines. They really are going to have to swing momentum back in their favor starting in game 2. Otherwise, you're right, this could be a very, very quick series.
Yeah, and I think now is the perfect time for them to talk about it. Like, they should just be surviving long enough to come up with a good game plan. Just because this is an extremely hard game for them to win, and they're obviously not respecting them. Fighting at 5k down, you're down 15 kills, and you still went to go contest the dragon.
Yeah, just I think you're right. Maybe just looking for like a elder flip would probably just be like the best idea at this stage of the game. When you're down so far, you really need to rely on some other factor, because just trying to engage in a 5v5 team fight just is not the way to go, as we see just evidence, you can just have the Trundle just run at you, and you can't stop him. He's 8-0. What are you gonna do against the guy?
And he went Force of Nature, so
yeah,
that he can like absorb all of that shred damage that's gonna come out of that Lilia.
All right, we have a Baron fight now as the Ornhorn comes through, followed up by the bandage toss. What the heck are you guys doing trying to contest these objectives yet again? It's Yamatok trying to make his getaway. Random Capitals may have drove a bit too far, but the Flash will save his life. Now that is only 3 kills this time, but it still will be the Baron going over to WLS.
Yeah, I flashed too if I were Random Capitals, just so I could talk about how sober I wasn't the one to die reporting him for anything. But really good, like Random Capitals was also able to get that deep TP flank in on there. So as soon as Yaba was able to get that ult off, no one saw Ari coming for the top side of that jungle, and that flank was disastrous for Ska and trying to survive. You saw RPG flash over and was immediately answered to by Random Capitals. So no survivors, no quarter, Baron taken, and let's see how we go.
I mean, just even look at the vision that they have set up around the Baron. Sorry, like barely any vision control for the side of Ska. Like you cannot walk into the jungle like that, into an Ord, into an Amumu, where their engage can come from 4 screens away. You need to, you just can't do that. It won't work. So. It is such a difficult,
really hard task ahead of them though, because they have no control of their jungle, so they can't even ward their own side deep enough to get that information. Just through like a lot of these early game mistakes, and now they're 11k ahead.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
And minus the deaths, it's a near perfect game.
I know, all the full objective control going over to Cafe Chocolata. Just again, if we had any doubts about this Trundle pick coming in as the substitute, well played to him. 18 out of the 20 kill participations, just absolutely running over this game right now.
Yeah, he's been so incredibly involved.
Oh, and just down the trumpets. Like, what can you do? Toxic Entity goes down for the 7th time in this game. They're gonna try and make a stand here at their turret, but will that even do anything? They are gonna be able to hit away the Trundle, but yet again, they are just falling at the feet of WLS. Soulbert dashes in, does manage to get that last kill, flashes back over the wall to keep himself safe. Draconis goes down as well. It's over. You can't fight this game anymore.
Nah, there's nothing much they can do. They can't end it right now just because they're really low and they don't have the TP to get back in. But able to take these 2 inhibitors is a good answer while the death timers are still going.
Absolutely, but actually Cafe Chocolata wants to go in, is dropping dangerously low, has a massive shutdown. Will the burn get him? No, it will not. Overlord Squid is now under attack from Random Capitals, and it's just a dash out. And finally, that inhibitor will fall. The soul is up in 10 seconds. Looks like the call here is just to leave. We have a TP coming in from behind, but I think it's just far too late. The dragon is spawning. Maybe they will be able to rush it before the rest of the team gets there. Yeah, but
I don't think they have enough damage to kill it fast enough. And we see Yaba TPing in. Fossil trying to run interference, but...
Okay, here we go. It's the final fight of the game. Toxic Entity already taken out of the fight. That's a huge bullet time actually coming up from Yamantuk, but I think at this point it is just way too late. Cafe Chocolata flashes in and will take out the ADC. Fire Ice Demon now is trying to stand up to the raid boss, but who the heck do you think you are to exist on Trundle's Rift? Finally, that will be the ace, and that will also mean the end of the game. Game 1 going to WLS.
Yeah, as much as good as that bullet time was, you saw a 2-item MF is not going to be able to shred through a 3-item Trundle, especially when Athemas is on you.
Absolutely, and it looks like the final Nexus turret will fall. And will they try to go onto Toxic Entity as well? Random Capitals dashes in, will not be able to find that kill. Looks like they will just take out the Nexus. 29 4. The final score here in game 1. Oh, maybe not. I may have counted my chickens a bit too early. They decided not to hit the Nexus until now. I thought maybe they were going to go for a few more cheeky kills, but there we go. The game 1 finally going over to WLS.
You can see it in their eyes. They really wanted to do it. Toxic Entity was two deaths away from his 10 death power spike. But an extremely clean game from Soulbert. And I don't know how you come back from this. You had the game plan for Ska. We talked about it in draft in the early game. They just did not execute, did not play well, and then once they started to get behind, they straight up got destroyed from it.
Absolutely. Like, it was that first gang coming in from Cafe Chocolata, cost both of the flashes of your jungler and your mid laner for the side of Ska. And then after that, you tried to flip the first dragon fight, and it just went so poorly for them that it just snowballed from there. And it was so impossible for them to come back from that. So definitely going to be a bit of an uphill battle here for the side of Ska if they're able to actually, brush off the loss. It happened. Let's move on. Focus on game 2. What do we need to change in draft? What do we need to, change from the, from our game plan in order to make sure that we can actually, rebound back and have a more competitive game 2?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And only one way to find out, and that's
absolutely. So we will be right back. We are going to go to a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back for game 2 between So Chill actually and I love Soulbert. We love Soulbert. I'm sorry. We all love Soulbert. We'll be right back.
It's a bait.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Risen Esports Dominate quarterfinals. We just had a very exciting game 1 matchup between WLS and Ska. I'll just stick with Ska. We are already hopping into the draft for game 2, but before we talk about the picks and bans, we do have to say Cafe Chocolata. In fact, I think he was probably my MVP in the last game, is no longer with us. We do have our regular jungle Birdo coming back in for WLS. So, again, hats off to the sub. He played amazing, was probably one of the most contributing factors to this game, but we now have our regular moving back in. How do you think this changes draft in any way for WLS?
Well, I mean, in terms of changing the draft from WLS, I think Birdo is a more carry-centric jungler. You saw that Chocolata, while playing the Trundle, was carrying, but definitely the more supportive champion. Ska, knowing that Birdo is in, still opts to take out that Trundle because it was so dominating. Maybe they think it will have equal success on a more proficient jungler. But you see that they also got rid of the Ahri. They're afraid of that, but still going with the same blue 3 ban of the Jace.
Yeah, could be perhaps now a trauma ban. that was a bit too much for them, and they just do not want to see Trundle in another game. But opting in for the Ashe first pick. So Kai'Sa taken off the board by WLS. We will see soulbert on a new AD carry pick. The response to the Ashe, the Renekton, and the Syndra. So a bit of a curiousness. They take the mid laner away from Ska this time around, and instead will take the Syndra for themselves. So picking your solo lanes earlier on in the draft, a bit of a curious play here. What's your take on picking up your mid top before anything else?
Ska got rid of the champion that works extremely well into Syndra and didn't prioritize that pick with that Ahri ban. So Capitals obviously feels pretty good on it, and Fire and Ice reply with the Tristana pickup, which is good into the Syndra, but if you're ever caught out by her force of will, then your champion is useless and you're never going to get on them. So,
yeah, absolutely.
But
like,
Ashe...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, but Ashe is still an extremely powerful AD carry right now. A lot of people incorrectly label her as a support AD carry, but with the new patch and how the items are working, she is definitely full on carry potential.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, it's kind of weird that we see both solo lanes picked up here for each team, because I'm assuming that Tristana is going into the mid lane. Of course, I know you said Ashe is a very strong AD carry, but can still be flexed with the support, even though I highly doubt that'll happen at this level. So I'm assuming that Tristana is going into the mid lane. A pretty heavy AD comp so far here for Ska, but looks like it's going to be the ADC picked up on the other side. So both teams lacking a jungler and a support. How do you think this will play into the rest of draft here, especially with this Jinx pickup?
Well, with the Jinx pickup, I foresee a Thresh coming in. It's a very safe support to pick blind. It does have that armor scaling, which does well into this team. But really good on Scott. You don't normally see blue side getting counter picks. Just the one normally if the other team missed drafts. But being able to pick up both soul laners in response to the soul laners is extremely good. But now you have to look at like an AP jungler. And Soulbert doing good, getting rid of that Maokai. We'll probably take out another AP positive jungle here, just to prevent Scott from being on comfort.
We could see the Lilia again, perhaps. It wasn't very successful for Toxic Entity in game 1, but if it is a comfort pick, it could just be, hey, we'll try it again. We brush it off, just try one more time on the Lilia. So that could be, the AP angle that we're looking for here for the side of Ska, but obviously could look for something different as well. Gonna take out the Udyr as well. So trying to take out, some of these, frontliney, more engage-heavy AP tanks here for the jungler.
If I'm Soulbert, I want them to play Lily again, especially after that performance, because Toxic Entity will get performers anxiety. Just because of how chilling that performance was, he's probably not going to pick it here. Rel also extremely good pick up the magnetism, and she does get that armor buff as well. She just doesn't scale as hard as the Threshold, but Rel definitely the overall better champion.
Are you expecting this Rel to be support or a jungle pick? It is still flex at this stage, so what are you kind of expecting here?
I foresee it going bot. Will work very well with the traps with the Jinx. But after seeing that Milio, maybe they do flex it into the jungle just to make that pick nonsense. Also, Milio, the only thing worse than Milio right now is Yumi, thanks to all the nerfs.
I was about to say there's some worse picks than Milio. I mean, giving rage on an ADC, who would have predicted that to be an issue at all?
Right. But a lot of what makes Milio good is just the ultimate. You get this big cleanse, which is really good into the Rel, but like the numbers aren't there anymore. The survivability is not there. A lot of the things that you picked Milio for was for the lane and not for the ultimate, because if you're caught in that CC, you can't press that button.
Yeah, and I'm actually not a big fan of the Sejuani Sejuani pick here. You have 4 ranged laners, so it's really hard for you to stack your E. Obviously, you need a tank E engage into this comp, so maybe it's just the best of a bad situation. But okay, so if we look on the other side, Gragas is the last pickup here, so I think one would assume that Rel is in fact going into the bot lane to lane with the Jinx, and Gragas will be going into the jungle. But ultimately, you actually can flex both.
Yeah, you can, but not so much. Gragas needs to get as much gold as he possibly can because he wants to go that Night Harvester.
Makes
Do a
total
lot
sense,
of that. Do a lot of that burst damage, especially because on the side of Ska, the only tanky person is Sejuani, unless you wait for Meganar to come in. But that's not traditionally what you want to happen. And then what's concerning to me is that Gragas would have been a great pick into Soulbert's team. Going with the Sejuani, yeah, you get the CC lock that you can get from her Frozen Tomb and the Ashes and Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but Gragas just disrupts team fights constantly, and you want to disrupt that Rel engage and that Syndra and Jinx damage, and needing that AP jungler would have been perfect to grab Gragas. I'm a little sad that Scott didn't grab it, and I think it's gonna bite them in the butt coming into this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when, again, considering the fact that just Sejuani is better with melee laners. You have, unless Gnar is Mega, which is arguably a small percentage of the game, you have no other way to stack that E. So all of a sudden your CC kind of takes a bit of a hit here just because of that. So I think you're absolutely right. Maybe picking up, more of a engage heavy support along with that Gragas would have been more impactful for Scott, but they have opted in for the Sejuani, not all because you can't stack the E as fast. You still have a lot of CC. You still have a knock up on your Q. You still have your ultimate. So trying to really pick out these priority targets for the side of WLS, I think, will be the play here.
Yeah, but they gotta hope they can burst them down. They have a lot of peel for the Jinx. The Renekton and Rel can both, Renekton, Rel, and Gragas will all get some sort of shield or health buff. And the Syndra has the ability to self-peel. So it's just how well will Toxic Entity play around this knowledge and being able to maybe bait out that those abilities so that he can guarantee that engage.
Yeah, plus the fact that your main damage is physical on the side of Scott. I feel like just defensive atomization just becomes super easy for the side of WLS just because, yeah, Sejuani will be doing magic damage. Yeah, I guess Melio will be doing some magic damage as well, but just I don't really think it's enough to really warrant any atomization. And just trying to shut down that Ashe and the Tristana and arguably the Gnar as well, if you can get ahead, is just going to be a much easier time for WLS. So right now, I think you're right. Just trying. I think I've more favored WLS's draft at this point.
Yeah, and just even going to the runes, I'd grab one armor or two depending on what lane I'm in. Definitely a little bit more resolve, just so that you're being able to just straight up deny any damage coming in, because that's Sejuani's not going to put out AP damage.
Exactly.
In the amount you need to be wary of a carry. But WLS has mixed damage very well. Like the Syndra and Gragas will both build the magic, and Renekton and Jinx will both have that physical, and Rel the ability to soak up. Well, at this point, only needs to soak up one, but the ability to just CC control the team fights.
Plus, Renekton already is an unkillable beast if he could get ahead, right? So just if he's able to stack, a Death Dance or any other kind of physical or any kind of armor item, just how are you going to be able to chew through that front line? I think it's going to be very, very difficult. However, like I said, it is you can't count your chickens before they hatch. We still do have to play out the game, and if Ska is able to try to snowball a lead early, perhaps they will be able to chew through that front line and get access onto Soulbert, onto that Jinx. So again, I don't want to count the chickens right now, but if I do have to predict one, I am going to predict WLS this time. Last time I went with Ska. But I think, following, the momentum that they gained from the first game, plus I think just the favorable draft this time around, I'm actually going to throw in my vote for WLS this time.
Yep, one chicken's already hatched, and it went WLS last game, so I'm going for them again in game 2. They have a more rounded draft, an easier to execute game plan, and the ability to just itemize correctly and easily, and for the better part of it, cheaply.
Absolutely. So we will see when the game begins. We are still in our delay, so we will just head to a quick break here. Please don't go anywhere. We will be right back with game 2 of the quarterfinals. Welcome back, everybody, to the quarterfinals between We Love Soulbert and So Chill. Actually, I got that right, I think.
Yep, first time this series.
That's a little hurtful, but yes, finally we got it done. And yeah, welcome back. All right, what are you expecting here from the early game here in game 2?
Well, I fully expect nothing to happen from the side of Ska. They have a lot of scaling, and the range will be helpful into the Gnar with the Gnar and the Ashe, but I don't really foresee a lot of happening. They're probably scared. They got this anxiety, and they were just completely styled on.
Yeah, and again, we just have to see, you know, what are the changes that Ska come through with this game. Like I said, we don't think that the draft was really the best, so like they're gonna have to try and come up with other advantages throughout their lanes. We're gonna really have to keep an eye on Toxic Entity to see what he plays to and how he influences the map, because as we mentioned, like that clear win con that they had in the bot lane, they just really didn't play to it, and it allowed WLS to really spiral the game out of control. So we will see what they do this time around in order to, you know, try to stem the tide here and try to change the momentum here for game 2.
It looks like they're going to try and abuse the Gnar range early by getting that Sejuani up there by 4 minutes, just based off the way they're clearing. And then this game, you see Birdo coming down bot. Anything to get this Jinx ahead faster is what you want. Hyper scaling, hyper carries are scary if they're fed in the mid game.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're gonna have to really keep an eye on Toxic Entity. I really think he has to have a much better game this time around, and I believe he can do it. We will see. You know, he is on a champ that is able to make plays in the early game. You see Fire Ice Demon try to jump in onto random capitals there, try to get a bit of damage off.
Yeah, they're just doing what they can with these range advantages. But you see that they're not actually getting anything out of it. Yabba Dabba Doo straight up dominating that 1v1 up there, even though he's got like a 175 attack range. Draconis is just not utilizing it well and keeping the distance. And then right now you see that Fire and Ice went in on random Capitals, but Capitals is still maintaining that CS lead. And they're just they're not hatching good plans.
Yeah, it is just a minor CS lead for now, but again, we're gonna see if he's able to just spiral that out of control. Yabba Dabba Doo is pushed in quite a bit here on the top side. Oh, fine, we got another jump in here from Fire Ice Demon. Just tries to chunk out random capitals yet again. We'll get a pretty significant amount of damage, so having to pop his potions early here. Random Capital's already down both of them at this stage of the game, and low on mana. Fire Ice Demon jumps back in. Meanwhile, the Yabba Dabba Doo in top lane is going to try to trade a bit onto Draconis, sorry. And we see the Sejuani on the flank here. We might actually get a good play. Toxic Entity is behind. Yabba Dabba Doo just uses his dash, so that is going to be very, very bad. Draconis now. Oh, and the failed flash is so sad. Yabba Dabba Doo tries to flash the wall, and it will end up nowhere. That is a very, very sad way to go. Yabba Dabba Doo drops, and first blood goes over to Toxic Entity.
Yeah, really good wherewithal there. We called it early. We knew Entity needed to go up there to top to try and abuse that range. And Yabba Dabba Doo could not ride that dinosaur over the other side of that rock. Make Fred Flintstone very angry. Terrible flash. But let's see how they adapt to this now that Draconis has got a little bit of that gold.
Meanwhile, we do have a fight here in the bot lane. Yamantak is now chasing after Soulbert. The Fossil Dyna tries to dash in, but that'll get him nowhere. The cleanse coming out, the flash as well. Yamantak is just following, firing arrows, and Yamantak will take out Soulbert. It's a 2v2 kill in the bot lane.
Yeah, burning that ghost, having that basically slow on constantly going, preventing soulbert from going everywhere. Probably flash and cleanse a little too late. Just because he wasn't able to get out of that range, and that's that range advantage that Ashe brings, especially with that Milio. Jinx is not going to be able to answer it, but no Sums bot lane means that Gragas is coming down there.
Yeah, no, yeah, Ghost and Flash used for Yamatak, but a 2v2 kill. This is all of a sudden a much better start here for the side of Ska. Will they be able to, you know, try to really push these leads, and perhaps we'll have a much more competitive game too here, because soulbert now also down his Flash and his cleanse. Going to be very, very interesting. Already almost 1,000 gold lead for the side of Ska. Fire Ice Demon now traded, jumping in onto Random Capitals. The bomb is ticking. That's half of their health already. Random Capitals already dropping low. This has been a fantastic swing for the side of Ska so far.
Yeah, this is what they need to do to get ahead. Soulbert, the We Love Soulbert team, their weakest point is their early laning. But like we were talking about last game, extremely strong team fighters, really good at macro. So as long as Ska is able to like keep this lead and start to build upon it, they'll have a better chance once we get out of laning phase, because that's where soulbert truly comes online.
Also, the Flash is down in the mid lane here for Fire Ice Demon, so we'll see if you know, if Birdo tries to play around that that mid lane right now. Try to take advantage of the Flash advantage here that Random Capitals has. But we can see the CS is going quite even. They did get the lane pushed here in the mid lane, and looks like Toxic Entity trying to get a little bit of an invade here, but will that... Fire Ice Demon is here, but Random Capitals just came from base. He has the health and item advantage. Yabba Dabba Doo is here. This actually might be very, very dangerous. Toxic Entity is trying to make his escape. Will he be able to get out? Toxic Entity is about to go down. No, not quite. He just manages to walk away. And now Fire Ice Demon, he has no flash. He has no dash. He has no life. He goes down, and Birdo picks up the kill.
Yeah, Yabba Dabba Doo, like, stun blocked there twice in a row, prevented from securing that kill. Extremely sad, but being able to abuse the fact that Tristana doesn't have her flash and securing that and getting it on the Birdo is extremely good. Anything to get him online faster, especially since he had that Dark Seal. So stacking early, being able to get stronger, trying to peak, and now he's going down to the bot side, probably to prepare for the second.
That is just absolutely one of those feel bad moments where you know, you walk away with you know, sub 100 HP, and it's just, yeah, not even close, don't worry about it. But definitely could have been a huge swing there for WLS, but only managing to pick up the one kill. Now Toxic Entity does have ult. He is hovering around here. soulbert does have cleanse, so could be perhaps an easy getaway. Should they try to make a play here? Toxic Entity comes through, as I mentioned. Oh, here comes the Ashe Arrow as well, but no, it's a bit too late.
It's too early in the game. Too early in the game for that Ashe Arrow to CC lock him pretty good, but both of these mid and bot wave have a lot of priority, especially getting rid of that cleanse and not having flash. So translating this into an early dragon, extremely good. But you see on the opposite side, Birdo is answering in kind, going for that Rift Herald.
Yeah, at this stage, you know, they do have an advantage in the bot lane, so it makes sense that they're able to pick up this dragon, and Birdo just being a little smart about the objective planning, just looking to trade and not contest. We saw the entire game lose off a dragon fight last game. It looks like WLS not opting to try to take that trade this time around.
Yeah, and but as soon as he able to secure that Rift Herald, he goes straight for the invade, taking away Toxic Entity camps, trying to maintain this larger build lead. CS lead.
We could see a bit of a skirmish here, as you know, Toxic Entity is rotating over. We have 3 members now in the jungle area here. Will they be okay? So Birdo is able to snag up that blue buff and will now make their escape. Looks like they're just going to be happy by stealing away the one buff, and they're just going to walk away now.
Yeah, it's a good steal, and it helps to slow down the Toxic's clear, and it lets you just being able to go and do whatever you need to in your own side of the jungle, knowing that he's still got to clear his, or you're gonna steal more of it.
Fossil Dyna's trying to look for something onto Overlord Squid, but doesn't look like they'll actually come up with anything. Meanwhile, in top lane, Toxic Entity dashes forward, but Yabba Dabba Doo will make his escape. Just has to burn the flash in order to make it. Looks like we had a couple disconnects. It looks like, but looks like there was a pause in the game, and we should be all fine now.
Yeah, looked like to be like 3 people. The entire soulbert team looked like they disconnected.
They needed a break, so they all just left. But it looks like they're back now, so we should be all good.
But like Ska's early game lead is all gone right now. With soulbert maintaining the gold advantage.
Yeah, we could see especially in that mid jungle CS diff right there is just 15 CS up on the Gragas and about 10 right now on that mid lane. Just when you farm that effectively, just the gold lead becomes so negligible. But here we go, Fire Ice Demon has to use the ult to keep random capitals off of him. Birdo's trying to go for it, and the Jinx Rocket! Oh, it could have been something. Perhaps, but the Jinx Rocket flies a little wide and they're not able to pick up that kill onto Fire Ice Demon. They will summon up the Rift Herald and try to get even more of these plates down here in the mid lane. Looks like they will grab one. If the Herald is able to swipe, they could grab 2, but the TP is coming in. A Fire Ice Demon now trying to go in, but Random Capitals is able to just back out, and that TP does not really grant them any advantages. Yabba Dabba Doo now in top lane versus Draconis. Looks like they're just gonna exchange, make them both extremely low, but doesn't look like we'll have any kills as of yet.
Yeah, good on Draconis not to go all in there, because Yabba Dabba Doo definitely had his ultimate, so that Dominus would have shredded if he were able to get on, but he's so low, Birdo walks himself up here.
Yeah, I feel like Toxic Entity has to move up to defend against this dive, but doesn't look like he will be there in time. Goodbye, Little Dar. I think this is the end for you. You will be missed. He goes down. Birdo picks up the kill. Toxic Entity now comes in a little bit too late. Will he be able to survive? Here's the dive. Keeps going. Yabba Dabba Doo tanking up the tower. Does manage to dash out. So they will just pick up the Gnar. And that will be enough for now, evening up the kill score, but giving themselves about a 1.5k gold lead right now.
Yeah, and they're just being able to stack these plates, getting all this stuff, and your one winning lane up top, or what should have been a winning lane, isn't doing so well. However, the bot side doing very well, trading back. It just seems like we're not focusing on what we need to do, and having static Shiv on Jinx is maybe the other way he can farm safely. I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah, I've never actually seen a static Shiv on Jinx, so I'm a bit confused by this pick. I do not play AD carry, so perhaps he knows something I do not. Fire Ice Demon tries to dash in, but a really good play there from Random Capitals, keeps himself safe, but meanwhile, down in the bot lane, Fossil Dyna is engaged upon, but will be able to make his escape, just dashing over the wall. And meanwhile, back in mid lane, Random Capitals gets a decent chunk onto Fire Ice Demon, does not ulti, and Fire Ice Demon will be able to just walk away. We have the dragon spawning now in 20 seconds, and as of right now, the mid laner is just too chunked, I feel, for the side of Ska to really contest this objective, but it looks like they are still hovering.
Yeah, if I'm WLS, this is something I want to go for, because Ska's ultimate timers are pretty low, and you have all of yours up. Fire Ice Demon was chunked out and has to back, and now this is a 4v3.
Here they come. Fossil Dyna engages on Toxic Entity. Yamatik is the first one to go really low, but he does not fall just yet. Random Capitals is giving chase. Overlord Squid finds himself in a position he does not want to be, and he will go down. Meanwhile, back in top lane, it looks like Draconis will try to get some chunks onto there. But now Yamantak is running away, and Yabba Dabba Doo will look to cut him off. Yamantak does not long for this world. It is Yabba Dabba Doo picking up that kill, but meanwhile, Fire Ice Demon just dashes back in. We have the Mega Gnar on Draconis. Random Capitals does not get stunned up by the wall, but is pushed close to it. It is traded back by Yabba Dabba Doo. Mid laner for mid laner here. Both top lanes get the kill, but now it's Draconis all alone. He does not really have a way in. The dragon has not been taken this entire time, by the way. Soulbert now is fighting down in the bot lane with Toxic Entity. Soulbert dropping dangerously low, does manage to flash out. There's the ultimate coming in from Toxic Entity. Meanwhile, Gnar is on a magical journey into unknown territory, but there are a lot more enemies than he was expecting. The stun misses from Fossil Dyna. Will he actually manage to get another Mega Gnar? This might actually save him. Yeah, the health increase is there, but he doesn't have any more dashes. There's the stun, another knockup, a barrel to finally put an end to that pesky Yordle.
And they finally caught him. And boy, what a journey it was.
It was a long one, but meanwhile, the TP coming in, Yabba Dabba Doo will flash, stun the Melio, will pick up that another kill. So they tried to go for the dragon, and I think that might cost them more then it would have gained them. So definitely a bit of a huge loss here for the side of Ska.
Well, I mean, good guys Ska already. This is the second time they've leashed Dragon for Soulbert, so good on them from getting immediately in there, and Yabba Dabba Doo being able to teleport immediately, provide that pressure, and here they are translating it into towers. Really good.
Yeah, there was a lot of action there for the last few minutes. Fights in top lane, bot lane, dragon, the enemy base somehow. So like a lot of action there. We're definitely getting it is closer. I will grant that it is a lot closer this game. But yet again, WLS are starting to snowball their lead into already a 3K gold lead as of right now.
Yeah, this is where they thrive.
Oh, but we may have just cast a curse. Then Fossil Dyna finds himself in a place he does not want to be. The Ash Arrow coming in will secure this kill. Fire Ice Demon will pick up that one, and the Rift Herald will likely go over now to the side of Ska. Draconis now drops dangerously low in the bot lane, but the Mega Gnar will be able to make his escape. Looks like they still do want to contest this objective. Yabba Dabba Doo does have the ultimate, does have that Dominus, will be pretty tanky. Oh, but Birdo just walks in and steals it! What the heck? The Rift Herald goes over to the side of WLS. Fire Ice Demon has to flash away, and it's Birdo trying to go in, but the heal coming in from the Melio will save Fire Ice Demon for now, but it will not save Melio. He will go down. Toxic Entity now trying to make his escape, as is Yabantak, but Yabantak is taken out. Toxic Entity does manage to escape, but it's the objective going yet again over to WLS.
Yeah, 2 objectives leashed in a row for them, going extremely well. However, you see that they have a lot of damage, it's just not coming from Jinx. I think that Static Shiv is doing more harm than good at this point, because normally you will see Kraken Slayer, and because they got like a beefier front line, that's really good. To have into those people trying to get onto you and being able to deal that damage to get your passive going faster. Shiv, decent for clearing, but you're out of lane. I think it was a lane item, so let's see how you translate going into this mid game.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the Static Shiv was perhaps not quite the play. Again, perhaps they're cooking something that we don't know. Maybe they're not really looking for Soulbert to really make an impact in these early team fights, and is just looking to push out these waves and scale up more towards the late game. As we can see, they have plenty of other damage sources. Birdo popping off on the Gragas, Yabba Dabba Doo popping off on the Renekton. So just perhaps that is not the role that they're looking for Soulbert right now, but looks
That's
like
fair.
they're building more towards these 80 damage items. Has already picked up the BF sword, so 7K in the lead right now. Dragon spawning in a minute and a half. What is the game plan here? Oh, never mind. I was gonna throw a question your way, but it looks like we're gonna have a skirmish in the mid lane and the bot lane as well, as Draconis now trying to dash in onto Random Capitals. Random Capitals does Dreadis to trade a kill back. And meanwhile, the mid lane fight actually doesn't really end up going anywhere. It is a 1v1 trade in the bot lane, but in a 2v1 scenario, Random Capitals picks up a solo kill.
Yeah, that's exactly what you need. Being able to trade these kills, at least 1 for 1, just being able to get money, because you're so far behind, right? Like, you're not going to alleviate the gold lead by just doing nothing, but being able to get you gold faster, even if you're getting them gold, will still help you get to where you need to go fast, especially when you're trying to scale and get really strong. Because Tristana does have the ability to hyper carry if she needs to. But you also see a lot of armor coming in from the side of Ska already, even though that there's a lot of AP threats, and that's how Kronos was able to get shred real easy. And this is why you see that Birdo is 4-0 with a fully stacked seal and 2 items complete already, ahead of everyone else in the game.
Absolutely. So what I was going to ask you before that fight broke out was, what is the play here for Scott? You know, you're on that team. You're sitting at a pretty big deficit right now. Already a game down in this series. What is the play to try and get back not only into this game but into these quarterfinals here?
I would overload one of the sides. I would send all champions get an objective bounty on tier 1, tier 2 towers. That's a large gold influx. Yes, you're trading away the bot dragon.
Oh boy, actually we might have a bit of a fight here as Overlord Squid finds himself in a place he does not want to be and will go down yet again. That Melio is just getting picked on by the side of WLA. A perfect barrel will actually take out Yamadak as well. Birdo flexing on the Gragas right now. Also, Dino will go down to Toxic Entities with that Sejuani ultimate proc. Finally doing a bit of damage, so they do trade one back. But at the end of the day, it is ADC and support traded for their support. And what does that mean? It means Baron's on the menu tonight, boys.
Yeah, they have the numbers advantage. It's really safe to go for it.
Draconis, I don't think your team's here, man. This is a bit of an awkward play, but who am I to judge the might of Nars? He is able to pick up that kill onto Soulbert. Fire Ice Demon is, though, getting absolutely dominated by Yabba-Dabba-Doo. Toxic Entity trying to make his getaway, and Overlord Squid, once again, is just caught out in a position where you cannot be, and he will go down for the 5th time. 15-8 right now are the kills. 8,000 gold in the league. They may not have gotten Baron, but they'll likely get this dragon.
Yeah, just based off of the series, Calamari's on the menu. Like, Squid is constantly in bad positions. Right idea, wrong execution. Like, he went in to go save them, but like, why are you trading your life for their life? Even though Sejuani's 4-0, has 0 bounty on them whatsoever.
Again, just looking at that farm difference too, right? Just if you look at Birdo, just already like 25 or 30 now, CS in the lead, 7-0. Just that jungler is going to be the main threat, and just the fact that, you know, he has such a significant lead over his counterpart, I think that is likely the reason why Toxic Entity is not running a bounty right now. But Yabba-Dabba-Doo finds himself in the presence of Mega Gnar, but he is not scared whatsoever. Already has that Black Cleaver completed, and looks like the top laners are just going to slug this one out. Yabba-Dabba-Doo dashes in, and the Mega Gnar runs out. The flash forward, Yabba-Dabba-Doo bring down the hammer, and Yabba-Dabba-Doo picks up the solo kill in bot lane.
Yeah, just straight up shredding right through it, and that Black Cleaver doing so much work, especially as he went Mega Gnar.
Meanwhile, Overlord Squid, you are not lording over anything right now. He's forced to run away yet again, just being zoned off these objectives so hard. That Baron is going to be picked up, I think. Or, nope, I'm trolling. I'm sorry. I did not see it in the pit, but no one had vision on it.
Yeah, they're just trying to push out Ska away from this objective so that they can take it freely. Jake's finally has her mythic item, so we'll be able to output a little bit more damage here.
Toxic Entity's trying to gain some vision. The Baron is getting chunked down to about 8,000 health right now, so it's still a lot of time left before they actually need to commit. The TP is coming in from the Renekton. Finally, Tristana's is coming in, but it's so far away from the fight, and the fight is already over. Draconis just is taken out as well. Sejuani falls for the first time in this game, but with the jungler dead, there is no way that the Baron is even going to be contested.
Yeah, we're sitting at 10,000 gold before the Baron's being taken out here. Like, Scott doing what they can to try and get an objective bounty here, but Yabba-Dabba-Doo doing everything.
May have stepped a bit too far, but manages to dash away, and Random Capitals will just come in and pick up the mess that is that is in the mid lane. Oh my goodness, I just can't even put into words just how dominating this performance is from the side of WLS.
Yeah, talking about it earlier, they thrive in this environment where we're no longer in the early game laning phase, where they do struggle, and you can see it's translated into the bot lane specifically, having to grab that static shiv in order to farm minions safely, and then now just recently getting that IE about 22 minutes into the game, and 22 minutes to get your AD carry online isn't exactly what you want for a team. But however, Birdo, Yabba Dabba Doo, and Random Capitals being able to abuse the fact that soulbert got all that pressure and are carrying it 3v5.
Yeah, absolutely. And soulbert, now that, like you mentioned, finally does have that Infinity Edge, so will likely be able to output a lot of damage. But Toxic Entity face checking the brush, and will get jumped here by Fossil Dyna. However, he is extremely tanky on this Sejuani, so he might actually be able to make this escape. He's waiting for the dash to come back, but the ultimate comes through, and the heal, but the barrel! There was a lot of ultimates thrown out there, but finally the barrel will be able to pick up that Sejuani, and with the dragon spawning now in a minute, just means that vision control will go over to the side of WLS, not to mention a free mid laner as well.
Yeah, soulbert getting his first kill of the game right there on the outplay onto Fire and Ice. Decides to try and jump onto Random Capitals, but was hit by a Force Will and just stopped cold-blooded. And they're translating that into the mid-game inhib and mid-lane inhib and turret there.
Yeah, and we could see just the domination from these team fights and like these picks as well. Just Toxic Entity face checking a brush there. Just, you have no business being in that part of the jungle without any vision, I feel. And so all of a sudden, 2 inhibitors down, the base is in shambles. Are they going to look to end here?
I don't know if they have the ability to end. Everyone's coming back. Everyone's alive now and fresh. You're down and you need gold to spend. Probably take that one tower and then back off. Unless Scott just overextends, and it looks like they are going away from the tower to fight.
All right, they do manage to fall back, but all of a sudden, it is Draconis going down as well. And looks like the rest of the team will follow soon after. Birdo, absolutely legendary in this game. The jungler's doing work for the side of WLS. Yamantak trying to salvage whatever he can, but there is nothing to salvage in this game. The final Nexus turret will fall. The Nexus soon after, 25-8. They started off a lot better, but at the end of the day, yet again, it is WLS with the dominating performance, and they will take a 2-0 lead in the series.
Yeah, I really like the Sejuani. It did very well. I think you keep that going forward. And this time draft some melee champions to help you stack and are able to do anything. But right now, like this mid lane matchup between Random Capitals and Fire and Ice it's just astounding. The big gap that they have into it, and also Birdo coming in as well.
I feel the same thing could be said though for the top lane as well. Just I feel like Yabba Dabba Doo has just been on an absolute top lane kingdom right now. Just like winning the trades, winning his lane, and influencing that to other points of the map. I think you made an interesting point that like soulbert did not have to do a lot of damage. We could see from the damage charts, he was other than Rel, of course, he was the lowest damage dealer on his team. The most coming out from Random Capitals. Birdo putting in a big chunk as well, as was Yabba Dabba Doo. So like soulbert hasn't really had to have a carry performance in this series so far. I think the solo lanes plus the jungler from WLS have had a huge impact on these matches.
Yeah, the solo laners have been doing fantastic. They've been winning, but like this is game 2 of an undefeated performance or from the junglers. Each one has not died in either of their games. So I don't know what soulbert is doing to facilitate the growth and skill of these guys, but first Chicoletta and Alberto, extremely dominant performances. We're going to be going into game 3, and I feel like they are able to do what they want to do. Doesn't matter how many chickens you count.
We got another chicken joke. There was some words in the chat about wanting another chicken joke. So thank you for bringing that in, Dobby. But yeah, so down 2-0 in this series so far. It's going to be a really big uphill battle here for SKA. We will see if they're going to be able to make the reverse sweep happen, or if in fact it will be WLS moving on to the next round. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with game 3 between these two teams after the break. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We got Game 3 action coming here in the quarterfinals. We already are in Champ Select. So, before we get into the picks, SKA is now on the back foot, Dobby. How do they adjust their draft this time around to ensure that there's a momentum swing big enough to try and propel this series back in their favor?
I think they need to draft straight early game champions with a lot of proactivity. As we saw, soulbert, extremely weak early game. Scott was able to win that, and they just need to be able to maintain that win. But we're looking at the same bands, more or less the same bands.
Yeah, they traded out the Trundle for Renekton this time around, it looks like.
Yeah.
But Ashe again picked up. Are you expecting a very similar kind of composition this time around then, do you think?
I am praying that they don't grab the Milio again. And they go with something that will have synergy for the jungler. I really would like to see the Sejuani again. Toxic Entity had a night and day performance on that comparative to game 1. But who knows? With that rel lock in now, they might just run it back. It did work in lane, but it was also really bad outside of that.
Yet again, the Ahri is banned, and then WLS will pick up the Syndra again early on in this draft. As you mentioned, the it's just a very prioritized pick right now with its main counterpart banned away in this draft. So Syndra already locked in. Do they respond again with the Tristana? Because I don't know if early on it just felt like Syndra was getting the better of those trades.
Yeah, I would not go Tristana into the Syndra just because you're able to knock her out of your rocket jump, which is really what happens. The Zilean is interesting.
Okay, so we see some adjustments already to this draft. Picking up the Olaf here early on for their top laner. It was banned out in the last draft, I believe. Or perhaps I'm imagining it was the first draft that it was banned out. My apologies. So obviously having a bit of priority on this Olaf and the Zilean coming through. Is that Zilean, you assume, is that going into the support role or perhaps even flexing into mid lane?
Right now, it's a good flex pick. Just because you're able to poke well into the Syndra, you're able to survive her burst damage. But it's also really good in the bot lane. It gives Ashe more ability to move in and out of the way from the rel and anyone else who's coming into it. And as the game goes on, it's really strong because it can control corridors with its bomb placement. You're able to revive someone, so instead of a 5v5, it's a 6v5. And then you also have the ability to completely slow down and engage. And it looks like WLS wants that engage heavy composition between the Rel, Jax, and Syndra.
And looks like we did have a missed ban. They are stating that it is Hecarim in the league chat, so just so you guys know that marked off ban is Hecarim. And you know, personally, as a someone who plays a lot of dive heavy champions, I hate Zilean. Like it's just he prevents anything that I ever want to do. So I am not a big fan of playing into Zilean. So I am excited to see how Ska utilize him in this draft. Already picking up, you know, the Rel and the Jax, two champions already that want to, you know, dive in and be in the middle of the team fight and delete someone as quickly as possible. I think that Zilean already is a much better answer into this draft so far.
Yeah, it is for sure, and being able to ban away the Hecarim is really smart too. You take away one of the most synergistic compositions you can with Zilean and Hecarim, speeding him up, ulting him, but WLS hovering that Kog'Maw, and
it's locked in. So Kog'Maw. Normally you play that with a heavy peel support, not a real engager. So bit curious again.
Yep.
You might just be cooking something that I don't know about, but does this also mean that they're saving their counter pick for jungle?
Based off that Kog'Maw pick, unless something really weird comes out of the blue R4 and R5, that Rel could very well be jungle.
And we are getting the Bjergsen special that is a Zilean mid lane as the Thresh is picked up here for Ska. All right, so it is an answer into that Syndra. How does that impact you know, Ska's game plan here, do you think?
Well, I mean, the Zilean mid lane is really good, but it looks like they're going straight dive, all in, and anything to keep whoever goes in first alive, especially that Fiddlesticks, who has a lot of priority here. I really like this draft from Ska. They're put against their back, so they're trying something new, trying something weird, and it is hit or miss. The Fiddlesticks is feast or famine, so we'll see how well WS can hold into that.
again, Fiddlesticks, I feel like if you can get, even if you are behind, if you could get one good ultimate off, you get one 5-man fear, it could completely turn the tide of a game. So
especially since
even when
it's
you're
Kog'Maw.
behind,
Because Kog'Maw has no ability to get out of there. So what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to peel extremely hard. They're going to have to start warding in unorthodox places because it's not. It can come from anywhere, kind of like Zach can. And you got to do everything you can to keep that Kog'Maw alive so that you're able to just run through it. But between the Zillion Soul, the Thresh, the Fiddlesticks, like, there's just so much CC and slow potential that this could actually be really good for Ska.
I think their draft adaptation has been really smart here in game 3, you know? Like you said, their backs against the wall, they're down 2-0 in the series. You really need to put your best foot forward here. And I think, you know, coming out with this draft, it has a lot more synergy. If you could speed up an Olaf as a Zillion, just they can't stop him. They do pick up the Jarvan to perhaps trap a bit of Cataclysm, but then again, all of a sudden, then it's Jarvan is the one who's in trouble instead of anyone else. Because if you're locked in, it's that situation. I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me, right? So
I'm an ambulance for you.
Exactly. So I really like this so far. There's a lot. I feel like the Thresh will allow Yamantak, which I think has been Ska's best performing player so far. It will allow Yamantak to you know, maybe push his advantages a bit more and still have that lantern to get back out. So I don't know. I'm not. The momentum is still in the favor of WLS. We have to keep that in mind. But I think Ska have drafted themselves a perfect opportunity to get one back in this series, which would be very exciting.
If I'm looking at this purely based off of draft on paper, I'm going to give this one to Ska. Just because, like, remember, Dominate is a good league full of players who are not at the professional level. So we have a lot of one-tricking, a lot of different proficiencies that you don't normally see at, like, the highest level of play. So seeing these off-meta champions are good if the player is a master at them, regardless if they're diamond or not, right? And then it just looks so good. They're right there. They're ready to put it all on there. And if they were winning early game in game 2, and if they can translate that success into game 3, based off of these champions, they will scale a lot harder, a lot faster than WLS. So in terms of draft, so chill actually. You get the W for that one. However, in game is where it matters, and WLS is extremely good at team fighting and macro. So you have to maintain that lead and not let go of it like you did in game 2.
Exactly. But what I also like about Ska's draft is definitely they don't have just one damage source like they have had. Like if you put someone on like a tank and a Melio and all that jazz, you have now a Fiddlesticks, you have an Olaf, you have Zillion, and you have Ashe. All 4 of these characters can be heavy carries in this game. So, you know, it falls on WLS. Who do you prioritize with the Rel, with the Jarvan engage? Like, all this dive onto a team with a Zillion and a Thresh, it's going to be kind of difficult for them to really pick out one target and burst them down. So, because especially when the rest of the team comes in. So I really like this draft from Ska. Does this change your prediction though? So outside of the draft, does this mean that you actually favor Ska to win this matchup? Or, you know, based on what we've seen in this series and throughout the whole season, do you still think WLS will come out with the victory here?
I think Ska is going to win this game.
Okay.
I think Ska is going to do very well in this game, change the momentum up. They started to peel back in game 2. They have definitely answered it a lot better now. And I think the way they played the early game in game 2 will translate into a win for game 3. And,
like you said, in game 2, they came out, they got early kills, they got early ganks off, they got an early objective. Like their early game was like we mentioned, they had 1,000k gold lead at one point, right? So like it was better, but they just weren't able to translate that. And you actually do think that they're going to be able to translate that this time around?
Yeah, I think in order to win, they got to cheese, and they drafted the best cheese comp I could think of outside of Blitzcrank.
All right, then I'm going to try and flip this around on you then a bit. If you're now on the side of WLS, what do you do in this context to try and really try to close out the series and get the 3-0 sweep with the comp that you have?
I think you gotta overload on Thresh. Make sure if you're able to catch Thresh out, like abuse that. It'll make the Zillion waste his ultimate to save a teammate, and if you're able to take him out, you're able to prevent a lot of like easy escapism from the all-in that Scott will have. So if you can able to take Thresh out of the equation, it'd be really good because you're never going to like pick Fiddlesticks unless you're just like you got that thing lit up like the 4th of July.
Vision control is going to be huge in this game because, again, if Fiddlesticks is able to get that multi-man fear off, that is so detrimental for a low mobility comp like Syndra and Kog'Maw. So like, it is definitely going to be on the rel to try and maintain this vision and try to make sure that this Fiddlesticks cannot get onto their backline. But we will be right back as we go to a quick break before the game starts. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back for Game 3 of the quarterfinals. Welcome, friends, to Game 3 between WLS and SKA here in the quarterfinals of Risen Dominant League. We have a WLS up 2-0 in the series. SKA, their backs are against the wall. They need to come up with not just one victory, but another and another in a row in order to move on to the next round. We mentioned we liked their draft early on. What do they need to do in the early game, Dobby, in order to make sure that this winning draft that they have stays successful and actually gets them their first victory of the series?
Well, they have a very mobile AD carrying the bot lane on the side of soulbert. That's where I would abuse all of my power into, especially since you have the opportunity to just fear him constantly. And between the CC control from Thresh and Ashe, that cleanse is not going to do much.
Also, I am just noticing that the effigy actually appears on the minimap as Fiddlesticks. I did not know that, and that is going to be a little confusing, I think, for spectators, but the Fiddlesticks that's moving is the real Fiddlesticks, everyone, so just keep that in mind.
It does that for everyone on the map in the game as well, which is one of the strengths of the passive.
I actually did not know that. Wow. Okay, I just thought he looked like a regular ward.
Yeah, and if you place down the effigy into a place that doesn't have vision, it will also count as a it will reveal nearby wards as well. Same as
I didn't know that one after level 6. Yeah. But all right, so just keep that in mind, everyone. There will be multiple Fiddlesticks on the map, so just the one that is moving is the real one. As early on, we didn't have any level 1 shenanigans from either team in any one of the games so far. I'm a little bit disappointed by that, if I'm going to be completely honest. I always do like seeing, those early level 1 skirmishes that, really, really can influence a game early on.
I was really hoping for one too, especially because the level 1 of SKA is extremely weak. So if they just overloaded one side, they probably would have burned at least one summoner, giving them an advantage. But you see the top and bot lane having lane priority, while in the mid lane, that Zilean is having a troublesome time.
Yeah, I think early on, I just know it's very, very difficult to get a lot of wave pushes as Zilean, as you can't double bomb early on in this matchup. So now that he has hit level 3, I think his wave clear will go up quite a bit. But already 10 CS down and chunked out completely. Used both of his potions. Just a bit of a random capitals has just been, on point this series, and I really think has been dominating Fire Ice Demon so far.
Yeah, I think Zilean is a good champion for him because you don't need to straight out win. You just have to survive. Your usefulness isn't your damage, it's your abilities. So just being able to do well there is fine. You do have to burn that TP back because you're really low and don't want to die for free.
All right, well, soulbert has to burn the cleanse early on as Overlord Squid finally gets a hook off. He is forced to flash out, and Fossil Dyna is chasing after him. The Ignite goes down and will take him out, but now Toxic Entity is coming in. soulbert does still have the flash in order to get away. Random Capitals is TPing in already. We do have Birdo coming down through the river as well. Yamatak is forced to walk away, and Toxic Entity is protecting his ADC for now. But the TP coming in from Random Capitals may be a bit premature. He did have the wave push, who should still be able to catch most of it. But now we'll be at a bit of a disadvantage in the mid lane, I feel.
I think it was a good TP just because you were able to stop the engage from going any further.
No, fair enough. And yeah, what am I saying? Because now they've gotten the flash and already the teleport out of Fire Ice Demon. Meanwhile, back at bot lane, Yamatak, soulbert steps up a bit too far, trying to get that kill onto Yamatak, but he is not going to do it. Toxic Entity picks up a return kill in the bot lane.
Yep, and that's exactly what they need to do. Keep focusing soulbert. The fact that Fossil got the kill onto Squid was very good. Making an on the night out of the thing, but like you gotta be able to trade better.
Yeah, just but then also you have to keep this in mind as well. Toxic Entity staying that long in the bot lane means that most of his topside jungle will be taken out, as we can see Birdo already working away on those wolves. I believe he's already taken the Gromp as well. So, you know, Toxic Entity on the Fiddlestick, someone who really wants to power farm in the early stages of the game, just going to be at a bit of a disadvantage now, I feel, in that jungle clear, as now Birdo heading towards the top lane.
Yeah, the dude's got the level advantage, being able to hit 6 first. Naked dive here. You have both flashes up, so you're able to like get out
They
of
definitely could, and Fiddlesticks is nowhere close to try and respond to this dive. The flash coming in for Yabba is returned with the flash of Draconis, and he will be able to make his getaway. He is still level 5, so he might not be able to actually make a lot of impact in this top lane. That is a big wave that he has missed. Finally has leveled up, but Random Capitals has roamed up here as well. And Fire Ice Demon has no teleport, so if they try to push this any further, it could be a 3v2, but they opt to just walk away.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of this early game that they had going on, like level 3, is now out the window with how they're trading and playing these waves. WLS is starting to create a gold lead here early.
Oh,
yeah, Yabba getting that solo kill.
Okay, yeah, that was quick. I thought that fight might take a little bit longer, but the counter strike coming through with the follow-up W, and Yabba picks up another solo kill in this series, and now will extend their gold lead to about 1,000 with that now.
Yeah, and they're just straight up dominating. WLS going really strong here. It doesn't look like the composition that Ska has created is working together all that well, and they're not playing around it like they need to. Toxic Entity needs to farm fast, get that 6, and start making plays, or else WLS is gonna win this game. It's gonna be 3-0.
Yeah, I know it is still early on, but a Jarvan should really not be out farming Fiddlesticks at this point of the game either, and like the fact that they're even in farm just does not bode well for a Toxic Entity. And meanwhile, Yabba one solo kill wasn't enough. He's going for a second one. Yabba puts on the Lane Kingdom yet again. That's his second solo kill of the game.
Yeah, extremely powerful. And last thing you really want to play against is the Fed Jacks. Like the best player in the world, or the best players in the world play Jacks, constantly getting in the challenger just off one trick in that champion. And Yabba early game lead, Fed, and they're picking off Fire and Ice.
Fire Ice Demon, no flash, no way out. He does still have that ultimate, so he might be able to stay alive. And Birdo now dropping dangerously low as Toxic Entity is here. He is silenced and was not able to flash out, but finally gets his flashback at the last moment. The minion tick will not be enough to take him out, but Birdo burning the flash has to make us escape, and Fire Ice Demon didn't even need to ult.
Yeah, saving the ult there, very good. Birdo was one auto attack away from death there.
And here we go, Draconis now already down to half HP. Yabba once again just making his presence known in this top lane. Fire Ice Demon dropping dangerously low. Will he be able to proc that ultimate? No, he will not. Random Capitals, the stun coming through, picks up another solo kill for the squad.
Yeah. He's just been so dominating in these performances.
Oh no, Toxic Entity, his fear was seen, so the fear did not come through, but the arrow does, and that managed to land a kill onto soulbert. Also, Dinah is now the next one targeted, and she is able to flash away, but Random Capitals is thrown down. Fire Ice Demon is here. The silence comes through. Random Capitals has to walk away. Meanwhile, in top lane, Yabba is going for another solo kill, but it's actually spun around, and Draconis picks up his own solo kill this time around. Huge plays coming out here from Scott, and they're going to be able to pick up the first dragon of the game.
Yeah, extremely well played, especially going after getting...
We're not done, though. Unfortunately, Birdo does not have a flash. He tries to spin this around, but the ultimate coming through from the Zillion will keep his ADC alive, and Birdo goes down. The gold is even yet again.
Yeah. And they're able to catch the soulbert, pull him right over, getting his flash out as well.
Pulls him over the wall! But now, all of a sudden, like, they've been trying to do this dragon for, I feel like, the entire game. Fossil Dyna has come back to life. The ultimate comes through from the Rel and will trap Toxic Entity in. And Yamatak has to just flash out. So what seemed like such a good play for Scott might actually get turned around, as the respawn timers are just too low at this stage of the game to really make an impact around this dragon.
Yep, that's 3 games in a row, 3 leashes in a row. Very good for Ska there, helping out WLS. But what they did there at the beginning of that fight is exactly what they need to do as we go into these later stages of the game.
It had evened up the gold, but then the shutdown goes back over, and now the gold is back swung in the favor of WLS. But we also need to acknowledge the fact that you know, Draconis did pick up a solo kill into Yabba Dabba Doo while 2 kills down, so well done to the Olaf. We didn't really manage to see the full outplay, as most of the attention was down in that bot lane, but that has got to be huge for this top lane matchup.
If anything at all, it's a confidence boost. You're able to see that, yes, you can kill him. And that lets you be a little bit more active in the lane, not letting yourself get mentally beaten, and hopefully you're able to translate that into a little bit more. And it looks like Toxic Entry's coming up here to assist with that.
Yeah, I think he also was just coming up to try and break this freeze that Yabba Dabba Doo had in the top lane. Obviously, kind of bleeding his opponent dry already, 20 CS up on this top lane. But here we go, Toxic Entity and Birdo are here to try and influence this lane a bit more. But the fear coming through from Toxic Entity forces Birdo to try and make an escape. So once again, just these plays that Ska are making, they're just not really working out. They're not able to get these kills. They do manage to push in this wave. It breaks the freeze, but at the end of the day, just once again, not really picking up many advantages here for the side of Ska.
Yeah, we're spending a lot of time topside, but we're not getting anything out of it. And I think we're just now starting the Rift Herald.
They have, but now all of a sudden Birdo just managed to get his red, so he'll be back to full health. He is a level up on the enemy jungler as well. Random Capitals bursts down Fire Ice Demon. Meanwhile, in top lane, Yabba Dabba Doo is going on into Draconis. He does manage to flash out, and the CC immunity will drop. Both the top laners are extremely low. Draconis still has his flash. Fire Ice Demon still has his ultimate, has not procced it yet, but he's insanely low on health. Does level up his support, but meanwhile, Toxic Entity was forced to walk away. It looks like is he looking for an ult angle here? It doesn't look like looks like he's just going to back off, as the Rift Herald is yet again leashed and picked up for WLS.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to overload topside. I would throw the Ash Arrow up there, do anything to set up the CC long enough to let Toxic Entity channel his Crow Storm so that we are able to translate anything. But it looks like Yamatai is just content enough.
Oh, and Draconis has to flash out. It was a good idea here from the side of WLS, but Draconis forcing out the flash on Yabba Dabba Doo early on, managed to keep his own, but has to burn it here.
Yeah, a really good flash answer. Like, if he didn't have that, he's dead, especially with how they went into it. Really good that he saved it instead of trying to fight Yabba Dabba Doo.
But if you look at like these CS diffs, like I feel like this is where the majority of this gold lead is coming in. Jarvan should not be 15 CS up over a Fiddlesticks, I feel, at this point of the game. Jax, 30 CS up on his opponent. The biggest diff is in the mid lane, as just Random Capitals is really put on a farming kingdom here. And bot lane is the most even, but then again, the rest of the map is just so in favor of WLS.
Yeah, like Birdo has been farming very well.
Oh, another flash forced here. The Fiddlesticks didn't actually even manage to get the fear off, but I think Random Capital is just opting to just make the safe play and get that flash off. Meanwhile, in top lane, we finally have another fight. They're going both down so low, and it's Draconis yet again with another solo kill. The top laners just want to keep bashing each other until one falls. That's 4 solo kills in this game.
Yeah, and that's really bad for WLS. Like the Jax was supposed to be winning that matchup, no problem, and isn't anymore. Now you got all these now you have all these prio in these lanes coming into a dragon spawning.
Absolutely, but the stun coming on Yamantak means just the ADC will go down as popped by this, will get revived by the Zillion ulti. Will he be managed to get away? He just runs out of the lane. Fossil Dino trying to go in, and ultimately no one will die in this encounter. That is a little strange, but the Zillion ultimate kind of coming in clutch there to save his ADC. The Rift Herald is dropped into the mid lane. There are no more plates, but will they be able to get the charge and finish off the turret? Not quite. So at the end of the day, no deaths. It is an ult used by the side of Ska, but I think that was it. No flashes or anything.
Yeah, no, really good. And they're trying to get that pick on Random Capitals, able to dodge out of the way. But like, as this fight goes on, we also have Pro Storm coming back up.
Yeah, and I think they should have perhaps contested for this, because like I said, all they expended was the Zillion ult, and maybe, yeah, they didn't have the Crow Storm, so maybe it does make a lot more sense just to say, okay, we don't have to fight on this second dragon. We wait for number 3. That is the one where we scale up, we make sure we have our ults, and then we look to fight.
Yeah. Absolutely. And but we see it slowing down a little bit right here. Probably going to try and get another kill wherever Birdo is going. But I don't really see anything else happening. There's no objective to play for. But
yeah, Birdo looks like he's running towards this top lane. Could be looking to make a play on the Olaf, whose flash is still down. Does still have the ultimate, but again, into a Jarvan. That actually does not even matter that much. Meanwhile, it's doesn't have the ult anymore. Yabba Dabba Doo dropped dangerously low, but here comes Birdo. Draconis now looks like he actually wants to chase Yabba Dabba Doo into the second tier turrets, but now he's caught between a rock and a hard place as everyone from WLS is just buried down on him. Rel is here, so is Birdo. Draconis tries to trade the kill onto Yabba Dabba Doo, but he goes down. Birdo picks up the kill.
Yeah, he was looking at dollar signs there, just trying to do anything to get that kill, and it just was not good.
Oh, both those bombs miss. Fire Ice Demon just trying to pick up a kill onto soulbert, but you know, both those bombs don't land on him, and it's hard for him to, you know, do damage that way. So bit rough there. Does drop a little low. Does still have that ult just in case. Overlord Squid is looking for a play here around mid lane. So is Toxic Entity. There are no objectives spawning. Rift Herald does spawn in a minute, but that'll be at, you know, 19 minutes, and it might not be worth it at that point to try and go for the Rift Herald. So I think just the next big fight will be around this third dragon.
Zillion able to pick up the first tower gold, really big for him, especially being down 50 CS. Just getting any type of influx of gold there. He's at about 1,500 back himself. Like, that gold lead is literally just the difference between Random Capitals and Fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Already, yeah, just such a CS diff in the mid lane. Top lane is 20 CS as well, so you know, those 2 solo kills definitely did help Draconis get back into the game. It was a lot worse earlier on, but like you said, just Fire Ice Demon has really been struggling into this matchup against Random Capitals, and you can kind of see the impact reflected in the gold graph.
Yeah, and Ska has a lot to be worried about right now. Kog'Maw has his Blade of the Ruin King, and with any objective coming up, especially now that Baron is about to be on the table.
Oh, they actually do intend to start up this Rift Herald. Okay, so that is a bit curious because they only have about 20 seconds to burn it down. Also, Dyna, they don't want to give up. WS doesn't want to give up this objective for free. Soulbert is jumped on by the Olaf. He will get absolutely deleted, but the rest of the team fight is going so poorly here for Ska. Looks like the Ash Arrow will be able to connect onto Random Capitals, force the flash out, and Yabba Dabba Doo jumps in and takes out his opponents. Down they go. It is a team fight victory for WLS.
And they're translating that right into the Baron. You're down 3, and you have no other ability to get in there. And that's a free Baron. I think at this point, this is WLS's game. That was Toxic Entity didn't have the best ult there, and that allowed them to completely do whatever they do.
Oh, guys, you don't have smite. I don't think you can contest this. Draconis does have the zillion ult. Will that be able to save him? I am not sure. It's a 4v1. The numbers don't lie, and he will go down. Fire Eyes Demon is forced to flash out to save his own life. It is a Baron and an extra free kill going over to WLS. That is not something you can fight over.
Yeah, no. They were trying to do anything to stop it from happening. I mean, good old try there, but at what point are you? You gotta make a play. You gotta try and do anything. It's game 3. You lose here, your season's over, and you're not making it past. You're not making it to semis.
Yeah, I think it's just a point of desperation here for this side of SCA. Just how do you even? But it's difficult to put into words because now you're down, 5K. Their third dragon is spawning, and looks like it'll just get taken for free here by the side of Scuttle Crab's in there as well for some reason. Oh, it looks like we have the engage coming out here from Fossil Dyna, but all of a sudden the team is not there to follow up. The Ash Arrow comes through, drag it down to about 4K. It looks like they are going to try and contest this. It is warded, so the Fiddlesticks ult will not actually fear anyone, but he does manage to get the steal and the lantern back out. So they are able to grab that objective bounty and kind of get out for free there.
Yeah, that's like best case scenario that you can get from SCA. The fact that you're able to get out with the lantern, you're able to live through the resurrect, like everything is going your way there. But you still have to deal with the 5K deficit, the Baron, and the Fed champion.
Absolutely. Toxic Entity actually finds himself in a bit of a awkward situation, but Birdo does as well. So both junglers will be taken out by each side, and the siege continues here. All of a sudden, Overlord Squid finds himself in a bad situation, tries to land the hook onto Yabba Dabba Doo, but that misses by about a mile. So will not be able to get that pick there. Draconis is here as well. Yabba Dabba Doo just trying to zone them off and maybe look for a flank angle here. The bomb's coming out. Finally, the hook lands. Yabba Dabba Doo does pop the counter strike, does manage to flash away, hits, jumps to the blast cone, so will be able to make his escape. A good hook there from Overlord Squid will force out the flash from Yabba Dabba Doo, but the tower eventually does go over to WLS.
Yeah, and then baiting out the Ragnarok there as well was really good for them. Another cooldown off the table. Not a lot of objectives come up, but we see that they are going topside to get the free standing tower gold.
Yeah, with both mid lane turrets taken out, this obviously opens up so much of the map for WLS as they're just able to, push their leads into the jungle. You can see the vision on the bot side has already been established. The Rift Herald will be popped, so there's no way this tower doesn't go down. Fossil Dyna trying to get a little bit of vision into the topside jungle, but Toxic Entity just fears him away. That Fiddlesticks is indeed scary. So the point and click fear does manage to force Fossil Dyna to make this escape.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be an aspect of horror, and right now he's more of a jump scare.
Yeah,
it's
like cheesy jump scares in like the movies where you're like, oh, okay, that was kind of scary.
And it's just because he lacks the power and ability to do anything. You can see the item disadvantage that everyone has, and like we have the Merc Treads in, a lot of MR as well. Just being able to survive anything because they know that Fiddlesticks is going to do what they can to get onto them.
Yeah, but as I mentioned in draft, it only takes one big ultimate where, the warding wasn't quite there or just the positioning was really great on the side of SCA. Just Toxic Entity, if he's able to get like a multi-man ult onto one of these major team fights, it could really turn the tide of the game. So I'm not counting the Fiddlesticks out just yet. It will take, a massive ult for that to happen, but I still think it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, the ability is there, obviously. The misplays that WLS have had, I mean, gold advantage aside, this is also like every game we play, these two teams play, the advantages go lower and lower the closer these games are getting. I just don't think there's no such thing as a best of 7 in League of Legends. So I don't see them winning and continuing this out, but they are giving soulbert harder and harder games.
Absolutely. Like we said, in the second game, they fought back a little bit better. And then in this one, I think it's actually been a lot closer. There have been some missteps. Just that one play around Baron really skyrocketed the lead that WLS had. Meanwhile, the fear lands onto Birdo. The smite comes through. I think it was picked up there by Toxic Entity. So Birdo just kind of has to dash away and doesn't manage to get the steal off.
Yeah, and the fact, but he also like had like the most unintentional outplay ever. He flag and dragged away from the Ashe without even knowing it.
Yeah, that was true. The Ashe arrow did fly wide, so definitely a bit of an unlucky play there for Ska. The dragon now spawning in 30 seconds. Again, I have to ask, you're Ska, you're at this disadvantage, about 6K right now. Do you even fight this objective, or do you just let them get the third dragon
I have
go
Ashe
for something
Kraken
else?
Slayer. If I see them going for one of those two objectives, I move to the other objective.
Yeah, and we have the Baron now spawning. It looks like it'll just get picked up for free. Oh no, they actually want to contest. Looks like they're moving up. They're opting to not fight for this dragon. Baron down to about 4K health. What are they going to do? Yabba Dabba Doo tries to turn the fight. Goes on to the one guy that's immune to stuns. Does pop the stopwatch to keep himself alive a little bit longer. But meanwhile, it is an absolute massacre for the side of Ska as they are taken out by Yabba Dabba Doo and the rest of WLS. They are forced to run away, but down goes the AD carry, and the rest of the team will surely follow. Overlord Squid hooks to try and save his mid laner for a little bit longer, but Overlord Squid now pops the stopwatch, will gain even more time. Fire Ice Demon trying to pop some bombs, might be able to trade a kill back. Fossil Dino drops dangerously low, and the shutdown will come back, but that is 4 for 1 in favor of WLS.
Yeah, that's such a long team fight just to stop the Baron. I would have just easily traded objective for objective anything because it's bonusful because of the bounties. But the soulbert and team were able to just peel effectively well, get away from those dive champions. Yes, burning your summoners, but there's no other real team fight coming up except for Baron. So we'll see how well Ska can abuse those lack of summoners as we go into this team fight, but you got to be very careful. WLS treads Baron super fast with what they got.
Yeah, and looks like they're just trying to clear out the vision right now, try to prep for this inevitable fight. As I think we know that they are that Ska is not the team to just kind of give up an objective for free. They will likely fight here. Might be the last fight of the series if it goes wrong, but here we are. We got all 5 members hovering around this Baron right now. Fire Ice Demon is just trying to get some poke down, toss up those bombs. Birdo trying to play around. Yamantak is not a flash, but the hook does land onto Birdo. Birdo looking for this Ashe. Does manage to dash on and get onto them. The Ashe arrow comes through, and the Thresh Lantern saving his AD carry. That is huge. Yamantak does survive, but he is so chunked out that I think they are just going to give up this objective now.
Yeah, that Lantern saved the game.
Oh, but we are not done. Yabba Dabba Doo pops the stopwatch, and Draconis drops dangerously low. He did have the Zillion ult, but did not use it. Yabba Dabba Doo is the first one to fall. It's a 5v4. Baron now down to 5K. Toxic Entity is trying to find some way into the pit. Fossil Dyna is trying to zone as much as they can. Fire Ice Demon drops dangerously low. So does Soulbert. But here comes Draconis. The TP comes in clutch. That is now 3 kills going over to the side of Ska. But they're traded one back. Random Capitals does manage to take out the enemy mid laner. The Baron did go over to WLS, but it's 3 kills for Ska.
Yeah, that's as good as you can get for Ska right there. Being able to translate it, going topside where you have a way of getting that objective bounty. You got a lot going right from the mistakes that WLS is making. maybe you keep, and if you can keep capitalizing on it, this game is going to be far from over. But you're just all standing up here fighting in the WLS where you don't have help summoners. This is a pretty dangerous spot for them to be in.
Yeah, I just feel like Yabadabadu has really been stepping forward a bit more than he should. The Thresh Lantern does save the jungler there. But Yabadabadu just keeps overstepping. Like, he was in the middle of 4 of them. He was just deleted before, like, the rest of his team could get in there and help him. So, you know, maybe stepping a bit too far in some of these plays is a bit of a angle where... maybe a bit of a comeback angle here.
It probably feels overly safe because he has that Zonias. So he's like, oh, I'll just dive in and buy my team some time.
Yeah, but we saw in the last fight, he was just taken out before anyone else could really do anything. But does have the TP. He is pushing bot lane. I don't think he has the Baron buff because he was dead when the... Yeah, he does not. So... Doesn't have the Baron buff, so he's pushing rather slowly. Does still have the TP, as most of his team is gathering around the top lane, trying to force down these turrets here. Oh, the stun comes in. Yamantak, again, chunked dangerously low here by Random Capitals. Meanwhile, the fight in bot lane, it is top laner v top laner. CC immune, Draconis. Yabadabadu flashes out, but hops back in. The counter-strike is there. Draconis will finish him off. It's a solo kill. That is huge for Ska.
That is a pretty big deal, especially because he's going to be down near around the time that Dragon Soul will be spawning.
Yeah, Cloud Soul on the line here. Random Capitals tries to burst out Toxic Entity, but the Zonias and the Flash will keep him alive for now. Looks like they're going to be chasing. It is a 5v4. Overlord Squid trying to land that hook, but Random Capitals is well out of range, so that hook does not land. We have the dragon spawning in 38 seconds. TP is on Yabadabadu, so he should be able to still be there for the dragon, but again, just any one of... They've been holding on quite well, Ska, in this game. But I still feel like any fight goes wrong, just it's the end of the series.
Well, what's really good for Ska here is that they're able to be first on site at the dragon, setting up some vision control, making sure they see where WLS is coming from. So hopefully they're able to get a pick or two, and then getting that dragon, denying that soul, and hopefully going into a different bounty.
Oh, Fossil Dyna may have stepped too far. The hook lands from the Thresh. Fossil Dyna has no flash, and now she goes down. That is a huge pick for Scott. It's now 5v4. The dragon is going down to insanely fast, now down to 2k. The smite secure. The objective bounty is claimed. The soul is delayed.
Yeah, really good play, and it looks like Yabadabadu caught out again.
He was on the wrong side of the map, and there's 5 enemies, I should say, that are there to help you meet your doom. Yabadabadu once again steps a bit too far, and the rest of his team is unable to help him.
Yeah, it looks like Yabadabadu's shell's cracking here under the weight of the chickens from Ska.
we have to get more chicken jokes, don't we?
Yeah, we do. But this is really good for Ska. Like, they're climbing back, they're doing good, they're decreasing this bounty.
Oh, soulbert. There's the... Oh, okay, the flash is responded. I was going to say if that hook lands, that would be a very, very dead Kog'Maw. But the flash does manage to save his life. So, all right, next fight that we're expecting to see will be around that Baron. So,
yeah,
what's the plan? Like, how do you navigate this fight now as Soulbert? No, as Ska.
As Ska, I know that oh my goodness.
Well, don't do that.
I wouldn't do that.
I would not do that either.
I would literally overload the Kog'Maw. Do everything you can to get on him. And if you're able to catch out Random Capitals at any given point, you take him out, you will win the team fight. He is sitting on so much, like, he's got a 700 gold bounty, and he's on 4 items, working on 6. He is the strength of the team right now.
Absolutely. So that bounty would be huge if they are able to get it. But again, just the advantage, there is still a 5k gold advantage. It has shrunk, but it is still at 5k. So Oh, this is gonna be difficult. The Baron is spawning in 30 seconds. I have to imagine the game would be yep, not the right fiddlesticks.
But like,
I was fooled there for a second.
but like, this is the same thing that was good for Ska is now good for WLS. They're the first ones to lay down some vision. They're prepping the objective, and they're going to be there in force. And seeing Olaf TP back and then walk there, seems like they're just giving up the vision and not placing any down. What is it? Overlord is still backing with one in his chamber. Like, this is...
Yeah, it's kind of weird that the support is backing right now.
Yeah, this looks like free Baron.
Yeah, this does not look good now. That may have been some bad recall time. A Toxic Entity has to pop the stopwatch, but I feel like he's just going to go down immediately, and indeed he does. Fire Ice Demon will be protected and lanterned out. But the jungler down, that just means a free Baron going over to WLS. That may have just cost not just the game, but the entire series.
Yeah, that backing from Overlord Squid literally cost Ska everything. Terrible time, unable to do, like, you're not there to support the team. You're not able to get him out of safety if we're caught out.
Yeah, okay, Olaf doing Olaf things, but it's not going to last for very long. The Baron is picked up. He does manage to trade back a turret, but he goes down, and now Baron advantage. We got Dragon spawning in a minute and a half. All of a sudden, what seemed like potentially a comeback angle here for Ska has been completely wiped out.
Yeah, and it sucks. It was literally off the Thresh pressing B was the turn of the game. All the momentum that they had out the window right there.
All right, well, if you're able to, land a critical hook here over Overlord Squid, it could potentially redeem yourself, but with the Baron sieging, they're not going to be able to set up for this dragon, and I feel like it'll be so hard for them to fight into this pit, and they may just have to give up the soul here.
Yeah, I think you give up soul, fight for the Elder. I think that's got to be your new plan of action again. Yeah. Basically because you don't have any control over your own jungle. You don't know where they are. You're tiptoeing in. We're not placing down vision properly. Thresh has 0 in his chamber now, and he has it back to get more to push this vision line.
And one saving grace here would be that it is a Cloud Soul. It is still Soul, which is inconvenient, but Cloud Soul arguably is one of the worst ones out of all of them. So it's not like it's a game-ending Soul. So that is a bit of a silver lining here for the side of Ska, but at the same time, it is still free stats that you're giving over. So
it's not the worst Soul. It's not like it is the worst, right? Like in comparative to the others, but like it is still an extremely good Soul to have on a composition that wants to engage in Orla.
Absolutely, and it was taken Soulbert, with no fight whatsoever.
Yeah, I think here, now that they've locked it in, WLS feels extremely confident to make a final push in and attempt to end the game.
Yeah, this might just be not just the end of the game, but the end of the quarterfinals series, as WLS will be looking to end it here. But the Fiddlesticks ultimate comes in clutch, and the flash up from soulbert keeps him alive, and finally there's a pick. They needed that desperately, but Toxic Entity is so low right now, and here comes the rest of the squad. Yabba jumps in, and so does Birdo. Birdo still has the resurrect, so he will stay alive, and Draconis does go down. The hook comes in from Overlord Squid. The TP coming in from Random Capitals as well. They will force down the inhibitor. This might be the end of the game.
Yeah, I think this is the end right here. They have such control.
Yabba takes out the enemy jungler. They don't have Baron anymore, so it is just a normal siege. Birdo hops in. Overlord Squid does not go down yet. The stopwatch keeps Yabba alive. Yamatek does survive through the Zillion ultimate, but again, there's just no team fight power here. There's no wave clear. Fire Ice Demon cannot control this wave. There's a huge hook there. Soulbert may go down. No, he will not. And instead, it's the entire enemy team that falls. That will be the end of the game.
Yeah, there's nothing they can do to stop this from happening right now.
They tried their best, but Ska will not dance tonight. They will get one kill in response, but that'll be about it. We have WLS moving on to the semifinals of the dominant Risen Esports League.
Yeah, and speaking of dominant, that was such a dominant showing for them as well. So
Ah,
whoever
wordplay.
wins going into the semis against them should be very worried about how this game is supposed to be played.
Absolutely. I mean, any 3-0 is difficult to swallow. So, Soulbert, or We Love Soulbert, coming out with a huge victory here. Random Capitals, once again, the most damage in the game. Absolutely smurfing on this game. 10-1-8 on the Syndra. Just absolutely putting on a clinic in the mid lane, though. I want to first say, before we go on and congratulate the winners, that was a well-fought game 3 by Ska. I think their draft was a lot better. I think their team play was a lot better. They got a lot of important picks, but at the end of the day, just falling short to WLS. I want to say, well played. I know they're going to do a lot of great things next season. Well played there to Ska.
Yeah, extremely good team fighting there in the third game. The ability to adapt, and each game got longer, each game got closer. It was a good season from them. I would not feel bad for how it ended. Definitely some things to shore up in the offseason if you're going to keep this roster, which I would try to do instead of starting fresh, because then you don't know how that's going to carry over.
Absolutely. I again, making quarterfinals in itself is an impressive thing. So I think they ended the season like 6-3, I believe, which is very commendable. So I think, like I said, they should hold their heads up high. I think that they had a really good outing here. But that being said, I still think we could go on and now congratulate the winners of WLS. Well done to you guys. We'll be moving on to the semifinals.
What's up?
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Oh,
how
and
does
I
it
did
feel?
not realize that they were in call. Welcome, guys.
We kind of snuck up on you.
Yeah, a little bit. So yes, now I can actually give my formal congratulations. Well done to you guys. Random Capitals, just I have to give my compliments to you. An absolute lane dominance in all 3 matches. Just very well done.
Thank you.
Yeah,
But
it
it's also
was
just
just
Brazilian. He's counting himself, so.
yeah, it was just chef's kiss throughout the entire series. It was really good. But we saw that you had a substitute in game 1. Berto, what happened?
Wait, actually, where the fuck were you?
I had a prior commitment that ended early, so shout out to Coffee for making it.
Yeah, I think Cafe had a really good outing on the Trundle. Believe he went deathless or 9-0 and something like that. So stepping into the shoes, I think rather well. But what was it like? Just kind of coming back and stepping into that game 2, already a game up. Like, did any nerves or just still we got this?
I mean, I was still able to watch the stream of game 1, and I knew this was going to be a quick series.
Oh, that confident. Right on.
I mean, I don't know what really happened game 1 for them, or game 3 was a bit more competitive, but I think it was also the nature of the drafts because it's kind of difficult for us to siege. But yeah, I have full confidence in us, so I knew it was going to be 3-0.
And how did you feel about that game 3 draft?
Caps, you want to take it? Caps is muted. Okay, so
Caps does not want to take it. Go
yeah,
ahead.
he does. He's answered my
I
question.
did not want to take that.
He answered yes.
We're hiding information right now.
Oh, true. Actually, we are hiding information.
No, but
Honestly, continue.
we thought the drafting was actually like pretty fair. I think it was pretty even. It's just like specifically Fiddlesticks and Zillion, they punish mistakes in the Zillow super hard, and since we're fighting every 2 seconds, a lot of mistakes happen.
No,
So,
fair enough.
yeah.
And now, so you guys are moving on into the semifinals. So obviously, coming off, a 3-0 series sweep, got to have a lot of confidence going into this next series. But how do you move on from the, oh yeah, that was like that we played really well? How do you translate that over into your next series with a brand new team?
I think it's important to I think everyone who's made it into playoffs is pretty good, so we always like to respect everybody we play against. We take every game as a separate game. We don't really use our prior games as anything. We take it as a new challenge. I always trust our prepping. Soulbert does a really good job prepping for us. And
Perfect.
yeah,
Does Soulbert also prep his builds before the game?
you're gonna have to ask him.
Was he cooking or something? What did he do?
Yeah, Static Shift Jinx is
Yeah,
definitely
we had some
cooking
questions
something.
about the Static Shift Jinx.
Oh, he did that?
Oh,
What?
Yeah.
You want to ask Static Shift?
Yeah, in game 2 on Jinx.
You know what?
Maybe
Rushed it.
he didn't trust me to wave clear. I
You know-
don't know.
Next time when we win our next series, I'll make sure to answer this question on the next interview.
Okay,
fair
right
enough.
on.
Do we still love Soulbert though, right?
We always love Soulbert.
Good to know. Perfect. All right.
Forever and always.
Perfect. So, just a couple last questions here. First of all, I had one and I completely lost it.
Nice.
Happens to me all
Nice.
the time.
I am very sorry. Dobby, do you have any last things you want to add?
No, I think I'm good. Just excited to see you guys go all the way up there.
Yeah. All right. If I can't remember it, so I think I'm just gonna call it here. First of all, or last thing I want to say is just congratulations to you guys. That was a very, very dominating performance. I really look forward to seeing what you guys do in the semifinals, and I wish you all the best.
You'll appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Take care,
And,
you guys.
and shout out to you guys. The casting is always outstanding, so I'm gonna look forward to it.
Thank you. We really appreciate that.
All right. See you.
All right. So, everyone, thank you so much for staying with us throughout this incredible series. Again, really well fought, really well played. It was very entertaining to watch. So, really happy that you guys stuck through to the end. We are going to throw this over to another league. We believe we have a game versus MM and TRV. So we are going to be throwing that over for all of us here at Risen Esports. Dobby, do you have any last words before we sign off?
Well, good luck to everyone else in the dominate, and look forward to seeing you guys next week.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Best of luck in all of your future solo queue games or series. Take care.